Han Lijin bellowed. As soon as he finished speaking, aside from Huo Wudo who flew forward a few meters, the other three elders flashed back toward the evil sky pavilion. In the blink of an eye, they were gone, leaving Huo Wudo and Ming Xian behind. "Hey, you can't play like this. Are you bullying an honest man? Is this how you deal with an leave cultivate here?" Huo Wudo yelled, desperately flying back in a hurry. Su Shen also stared dumbfounded at the scene. Why did they all suddenly run away? Maintaining a 100-foot avatar was exhausting. Su Shen brought his hands together, and the avatar dissipated. He turned his head, and said, "Your Majesty, I wish to break this barrier. Please give the order." Liuji shook his head and said, "Do not be impolite. To someone proficient in formations, the barrier was like a door and didn't pose much of a problem. Even a cultivator like the 5 mice of Shangjuan could use special means to enter. Previously, Ben Lishan, having lost all his cultivation, could enter the barrier relying solely on his guard. For those not skilled in formations, the only way was to use brute force, like the 10 great famous sects. That the best way to deal with the barrier was still to outsmart it." Swoosh! An arrow of energy suddenly shot through the air. Su Shen frowned, raising a hand to swat it away. He saw Hui Yuxing continuing to draw her bow, pulling back an even stronger energy arrow to sneak attack the evil sky pavilion. So the evil sky pavilion is full of such vile people. Su Shen flew into the air, launching several palm strikes. A series of palm seals flew out continuously. Hui Yuxing's expression changed slightly. "Miss Yuxing, fall back." Ming Xian shot up, rushing toward the evil sky pavilion at lightning speed. How could Hua Yuxing be a match for an leaf cultivator? Even the 4 elders had fled in terror. "You're not getting away." Su Shen's palm seals were already upon the barrier. Just before impact, a black umbrella suddenly appeared, blocking them. Clang, 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 the umbrella opened, deflecting all the palm seals, then spun in place. "The." Su Shen looked up. In the distance, an old man in a long robe was flying over. After a few grand divine abilities, he appeared right above the umbrella. Huang Shiji. Su Shen recognized the man. The newcomer was the master of Penglai Island, Huang Shiji. Huang Shiji slowly landed on the black umbrella. How can I miss such a lively event? Hu Yiren looked up, his eyes sharp. He stomped on the ground, and shot into the sky like an arrow. He brought his palms together, fingers interlaced, and charged toward Huang Shiji. "Huang Shiji, your opponent is mad." Huang Shiji's eyes narrowed. Another 8 leaf. He raised a hand to block the palm seal. Boom, the palm seal and the absolute saint key clash. Energy waves radiated outwards as the two were simultaneously thrown back. Huang Shiji maintained his striking posture with his right hand while raising his left to launch another palm strike, pushing Du Yiren back. The two glared at each other. This one move of absolute Saint K had broadened Huang Shiji's horizons. Du Yiren stabilized himself in mid-air, frowning. Since when did Penglai Island side with the evil sky pavilion? Brother Ji and I are the closest of friends. His business is naturally my business. Huang Shiji, you really want to interfere in this? As long as I am here, no one touches the evil sky pavilion. Huang Shiji looked toward Susheng, then at the evil sky pavilion's barrier. He began to channel his primal Kai. The black umbrella flew into his hand. With a twist of his left hand, countless images of Huang Shiji and the black umbrella appeared in the sky. The umbrella shot out innumerable energy seals. Du Yiren roared, 100 tribulations demonic soul. Su Shen also summoned his avatar. 200-foot avatars swept through the sky filled with energy seals as both sides engaged in a fierce battle. Liuji, who had intended to step inside the barrier, stopped and raised his head with interest to watch the fight. A battle between 3 leaf cultivators created a massive commotion, and Huang Shiji was helping the evil sky pavilion. Liuji stood with his hands behind his back, muttering softly. A guard stepped forward and bowed. Your Majesty, shall we go up the mountain? No hurry. Liuji continued to watch the battle in the sky. Huang Shiji fought Qiu Yiren and Su Shen for dozens of rounds without a clear winner. Liuji glanced at the sun and said coolly, open the box. Yes, Your Majesty. 2 guards immediately opened the box. Click. A long sword with red patterns appeared. The guard's eyes widened. Liuji raised his hand, and the sword flew into his palm. This sword is named Ling Shu. Heaven Grade. He didn't say much, but the 2 words Heaven Grade were enough to prove its extraordinariness. The 2 guards trembled and bowed. Your Majesty is wise and mighty. Liuji looked at the 3 fighting in the sky, raised Ling Shu, and flew up. Liuji had finally made his move. Liuji ascended like a bolt of lightning. The sword in his hand was not ornate, only emitting a faint red pattern that didn't draw attention. Coupled with the chaotic battle between the three, no one saw Liuji soaring through the air. He moved like lightning, slipping through the gap between Su Sheng and Gu Yiren. The Ling Shu's sword energy struck the black umbrella. Boom! A powerful energy wave erupted. In an instant, all three were sent flying by a strange force. A crack appeared on the umbrella. Huang Shiji felt a chill run down his spine. The sword energy had pierced his black umbrella, and his protective energy. Huang Shiji was thrown backward, the black umbrella falling from his grasp. He exclaimed in disbelief, spitting out a mouthful of blood as he hastily retreated. The first thought in his mind was, could Liuji have broken through to the 9th stage? Su Sheng and Gu Yiren stabilized themselves and bowed in mid-air. Your Majesty. Only when they saw Ling Shu in Liuji's hand did they realize the object in the box was a sword. I hope you can withstand one more strike from me. Liuji channeled his primal Kai, and Ling Shu vibrated. Seeing the sword in Liuji's hand, Huang Shiji's heart sank. He would be hard-pressed to survive the next attack. Ming Qian also looked worried. He was the one who invited Huang Shiji here. If anything happened to him, how would he explain it to his master? Boom. Suddenly a loud noise came from the evil sky pavilion. Everyone turned to look, witnessing an inexplicably bizarre scene. A blue light enveloped Liuji's body, broke through the roof of the secret chamber, and slowly ascended. Liuji's eyes were still closed, maintaining a seated meditation posture, his entire body bathed in the light. Master, the pavilion master is out of seclusion. The disciples of the evil sky pavilion all looked up. No one could comprehend what was happening. Liuji also paused, staring intently at Lu Dao. As Lu Jiu appeared, the 4 elders of the evil sky pavilion also came out, looking up at the sky. The other disciples flew to the south pavilion to watch from a distance. Liuji clasped his hands and said to Lu Zhao, Brother Ji, we meet again. Greetings, Senior Ji. Greetings, Senior Ji. Su Sheng and Gu Yiren bowed in mid-air. But Lu Zhu's eyes remained closed, as if he hadn't heard. He only stopped after flying several dozen feet out of the barrier. Liuji stepped through the air, leveling with Lu Zhao, and greeted again, Brother Ji, we meet again. Lu Zhao remained silent. Su Sheng said in a low voice, Your Majesty, I fear something is amiss. Suddenly, Gu Yiren raised his hand and sent a palm seal flying toward Lu Zhao like a lightning bolt. Boom, the palm seal dissipated. The palm seal had vanished on its own. What's going on? Gu Yiren, in utter disbelief, said to Liuji, Your Majesty, I was merely probing. Please forgive me. Probing. Liuji glanced at Gu Yiren. If you have any selfish intentions, I will not spare you. Hearing this, Gu Yiren broke out in a cold sweat and bowed. I dare not. This was not the time for infighting. Liuji looked at Lu Zhao, who was floating in a meditative posture, bathed in blue light. He spoke again. Congratulations on coming out of seclusion, Brother Ji. These 6 words contained powerful primal Ki, striking the light barrier surrounding Lu Zhao like a thunderclap. Thump, the sonic attack dissipated without any reaction. What cultivation technique is Master practicing? Xu Hongdong's eyes widened from the south pavilion. A defensive technique similar to the Buddha's golden body. I've never seen it before. Lu Zhu was immersed in the first divine ability of the heavenly writings human scroll, the divine ability of heavenly ear. He could hear any sound, but he could also block out all sounds. The sounds of the outside world were completely isolated, including sonic attacks. Liuji's expression turned grave. As expected, Brother Ji has advanced to the 9th stage. Lu Jiu had previously used a divine ability to activate the power of his armor, demonstrating extraordinary strength, a power belonging to the 9th stage or higher. It was not surprising that Liuji had come to this conclusion. In that case, please forgive me, Brother Ji. For the peace of the world, I am willing to be branded as one who harmed a friend. Boom, the Ling Shu sword vibrated. Su Sheng and Gu Yiren both showed looks of anticipation. They knew His Majesty was about to strike the only 9-leaf cultivator in the world. Liuji raised Ling Shu, and a sword seal appeared. Swoosh, the sword energy shot like a bullet straight for Lu Chu's chest. Master, Pavilion Master, Brother Ji, the disciples of the evil sky pavilion and Huang Shiji all stared wide-eyed at the scene. The bullet-like sword seal tore through space and time. Boom, the blue light suddenly converged into a single point, blocking the sword seal. Liuji was thrown backward. He spun in the air, retreating 10 meters. He raised his hand, and Ling Shu returned to his palm. He stared at Lu Jiao. He could block Ling Shu. While Liuji was in power, he had secretly tested Ling Shu's power. It was indeed a weapon that could shatter heaven-grade weapons. From then on, Liuji had sealed all information about Ling Shu, treating it as his trump card. A mysterious expert had once said that a nine-leaf cultivator could not appear in this world. But if a nine-leaf truly appeared, this sword must be used to kill them. The mysterious expert had also left behind the incantation to activate the inscriptions on Ling Shu. Liuji looked down at the red inscriptions on the sword's body. He no longer hesitated. For the people of the world, for Great Yuan, for the imperial family, the nine-leaf could not exist. Liuji attacked again. The blue energy reappeared, wrapping around Ling Shu and forming an unbreakable energy shield. Clang, 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 Liuji's figure flickered incessantly, now on the left, now on the right, creating countless sword energies that struck the blue energy shield. The sword strikes were like a violent storm, their tempo becoming increasingly dense. This scene was identical to the sword techniques of the sword devil Yu Shengrom. Your Majesty. Su Sheng swallowed hard. Yiren said, no wonder His Majesty had the courage to come to the evil sky pavilion. Just then, Liuji suddenly stabilized his form. The Ling Shu sword hovered before him. He brought his palms together and began to recite the sword incantation. The inscriptions on Ling Shu's body lit up. Liuji's eyes blazed with joy as he looked at Liu Shu and shouted in a deep voice, go! The sword energy blossomed, expanding several times in size before slashing fiercely at the energy shield. Boom! The resulting energy wave shot out, striking Liuji, Su Sheng, and Yiren in an instant, sending all three flying. Liuji, being the closest, took the brunt of the impact on his chest. He cried out in pain and spat out a mouthful of blood. The sky fell silent again. The sword energy vanished. Ling Shu slowly fell to the ground with a clang, the inscriptions on its body now dim. Wait. Liuji's heart was filled with doubt and terror. From beginning to end, Liu Shu had not opened his eyes, not even making an offensive move. Yet, Liuji couldn't even touch a hair on his head. What was the problem? Huang Shiji watched from a distance, his heart a mix of complex emotions. He muttered, Brother G's methods are heaven-defying. What am I even doing here? I might as well stand aside and watch the show. The four elders of the evil sky pavilion were dumbfounded, their mouths agape. He didn't even have to make a move, the pavilion master's eyes are still closed. Is he sleeping? I have never admired anyone in my life, except for the pavilion master. In the sky above the evil sky pavilion, the blue light nearly merged with the azure sky. Your Majesty, Your Majesty, Su Sheng and Yiren spun in the air to mitigate the impact. Even so, the shockwave made their blood churn, and their bodies tremble. The two barely endured their injuries to catch the flying Liuji. The three finally stabilized, hovering in mid-air. Liuji remained cross-legged in meditation, his eyes closed, his expression calm and composed as if nothing had happened. No one could understand this scene. Ming Xian flew up and shouted, Hey, you three shameless old men, you can't even beat my master while he's sleeping. Aren't you ashamed? Liuji gently raised a hand, trying to suppress the churning blood in his chest. Su Sheng and Yiren looked at the unharmed Liu Ji with fear. Your Majesty, are you alright? Su Sheng asked. I'm fine. The chaotic primal cry in Liuji's body gradually calmed down. They paid no heed to Ming Xian. There was no need to waste time on a mere five-leaf disciple. Continue. A trace of stubbornness appeared in Liuji's eyes. Su Sheng and Yiren wanted to retreat. If even the heaven-grade Ling Shu couldn't break this bizarre power, what was the point of continuing to fight? This wasn't a battlefield where willpower was needed to boost morale. What was the meaning of this now? However, when the ruler wants his subject to die, the subject must die, or be disloyal. Liuji pointed at the blue light and said, Look closely. Su Sheng and Yiren widened their eyes, and observed carefully. I see, that energy is diminishing. This was why Liuji wanted to continue fighting. He had discovered that the blue energy around Liu Ju had been partially consumed. I am willing to charge forward. I am also willing to charge forward. The two hurriedly showed their loyalty. Liuji raised his hand. The Ling Shu sword on the ground hummed in resonance, and flew back into his palm with a whoosh. The inscriptions on its body flashed, and then disappeared. It has been a long time since I fought alongside you. The four elders simultaneously flew to the top of the highest tower in the evil sky pavilion to observe. The existence of a heaven-grade weapon was beyond their expectations. At this moment, no one could help Liu Zhou. They were all experienced, and understood what it meant to die in vain. We'll have to see if I agree to that. Huang Shiji flew up through the air to face the three. Huang Shiji, if you wish to die so badly, then I will grant you your wish. Yiren changed direction, turning to wink at Liuji and Su Sheng. Who will die is not yet known. Huang Shiji raised his hand. An umbrella-shaped energy seal appeared above his head. Immediately after, the energy seal spun and shot out countless energy bolts. I didn't expect Island Master Huang to be a man who repays his debts, Pan Lishan said. The pavilion master lifted Penglai Island with his bare hands, a feat that stunned the world. It seems that good deed was well worth it. The others nodded in agreement. Huang Shiji was an 8-leaf expert. Dealing with Frieren was not a problem. So, what would Su Sheng and Liuji do? Everyone turned to look. At this moment, Su Sheng had already flown close to Liuji. He struck out with both palms, releasing a dense array of talismans. It's the Confucian school's talismans. Zhu Yushu shook her head. Indeed, old foxes. They saw that brother's energy could be depleted, so they deliberately used these low-level talismans to wear it down. Despicable. Huo Wudo turned to look at Ming Yin beside him and added, utterly despicable. What's so despicable about it? That's not important. Just scold him. Ming Yin glared at Su Sheng. Bang, bang, bang. All the talismans that struck were blocked and dissipated by Liuji's blue energy. For a full 15 minutes, Su Sheng continuously launched countless Confucian talismans. Boom. The blue energy sent him flying again. Su Sheng cried out in pain, and retreated more than 100 meters, his heart filled with terror. Old Demon Ji is this strong even before he's woken up. If he wakes up, how can we possibly deal with him? Your Majesty, the energy has weakened again. Although Su Sheng was sent flying, this attack proved that the method of attrition was effective. Liuji nodded in satisfaction. Ling Shu vibrated faintly in his hand. He turned to look at Frieren and Huang Shiji fighting. The two were evenly matched, fighting further and further away, and it was difficult to determine a winner for the time being. Su Sheng said in a deep voice, Your Majesty, do not worry about Commander Gu. Commander Gu and I are both from the Confucian school. We are the type who get stronger as we fight. I believe he will defeat Huang Shiji soon. Good, Liuji replied. He raised his sword, and the patterns on its body lit up again. Su Sheng also clasped his hands in front of him, and a talisman appeared. Your Majesty and I will advance and retreat together. Seeing this, the 4 elders of the Evil Sky Pavilion grew serious. The pavilion master's defensive energy seems to have weakened. Su Sheng and Liuji are trying every means to wear it down. Too despicable. We will also make a move later to distract them. The 4 elders looked at each other and nodded. Su Sheng and Liuji channeled their primal kite and flew toward Liuji. Talismans filled the sky. Su Sheng wanted to use this to exhaust all of Liuji's energy, creating an opportunity for Liuji to strike. Just as the talismans descended, a snow-white figure suddenly flashed from behind the cliff. An 8-leaf avatar appeared. The burst of primal kai was like a tidal wave, scattering all the talismans, which fell like snowflakes. Su Sheng was caught off guard, and thrown backward. He had already been injured several times by Liuji's blue energy, and this time he suffered another heavy blow. Blood surged up, and he spat out a mouthful. Who is it? Liuji shot over, catching Su Sheng with a palm strike. 100-foot 8-leaf avatar stood majestically in front of Liuji. The avatar shimmered with golden light, and below it, a golden lotus with 8 slowly rotating lotus leaves. Standing within the avatar was Ya Tyangen, dressed in white. 6th junior sister. Ming Yin said in surprise. The 4 elders were also shaken by the scene. This was the 6th disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Ya Tyangen. 6th senior sister has advanced to the 8-leaf stage, Xu Hongong exclaimed in disbelief. At the same time, in the Evil Sky Pavilion's training square, a group of female disciples gathered in a square formation and shouted in unison, Welcome back, Palace Master. They were once disciples of the derived Moon Palace, and only took orders from Ya Tyangen. Now that Ya Tyangen had advanced to the 8-leaf stage and returned, how could they not be excited? Each of them looked up at Ya Tyangen with teary eyes. Ya Tyangen did not greet them. She knew she had more important matters to attend to. Liuji heard them and said, I have truly underestimated Brother Ji. I never expected him to have such a stunning and resolute disciple. Ya Tyangen. An 8-leaf. His voice carried doubt, questioning, and also surprised scrutiny. Ya Tyangen said coldly, Those who offend the Evil Sky Pavilion shall die without mercy. The 8-leaf avatar erupted with an imposing aura, as if it could move rivers and seas. The azure sea tide art swept forward. Liuji held Ling Shu with both hands and slashed down. Su Sheng also unleashed his primal kai. Here courting death, the 3 immediately fell into a chaotic battle, energy clashing and filling the sky. Any stray energy that flew towards the Evil Sky Pavilion was blocked by the Golden Court Mountains barrier. The azure sea-tide art was like a 10,000-mile-long wave. When unleashed, it looked like an endless tide, sometimes freezing cold, sometimes boiling hot, making it difficult for the opponent to defend against. Ya Tyangen blocked the attacks of Liuji and Su Sheng. The amorous hoop flashed, flying back and forth, shattering Su Sheng's talismans one by one. No wonder the evil sky pavilion can shake the world. From the first disciple, Yuan Hai, to the second disciple, Yu Shengguang, all are figures that command admiration. I never thought that a mere sixth disciple would have such ability, Huo Wudo exclaimed in awe. The azure sea-tide art, taking on two at once. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have found it hard to believe. This is a critical moment. We must wake the pavilion master. As soon as these words were spoken, Len Lu shook his head in refutation. We can't. Why not? Usually, when one is in seclusion at a crucial point, forcibly interrupting will be counterproductive and cause them to suffer from cultivation deviation, Ling Lu said. So we can only watch. Everyone was anxious. This girl has just advanced to the leaf stage. She should be able to hold on for a while. The crowd sighed, their only hope resting on Ya Tyangen. A battle between leaf cultivators was something those below the 7th stage could not interfere in. It would be meaningless. Besides, the highest cultivation among those present in the evil sky pavilion was Ming Shi Yin, a 5-leaf, let alone 7-leaf. Bang, dang, dang. Energy continued to clash in the sky. Every move Ya Tyangen made was executed with extreme focus, but she was facing Liuji, who wielded the heaven-grade Ling Shu, and an 8-leaf commander, Su Sheng, who had extremely rich combat experience. Winning was harder than ascending to heaven. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. The battle had reached its climax. At this moment, Su Sheng saw that the blue energy around Liuji had almost completely vanished. Your Majesty, old Demon Ji's protective energy is about to disappear. Let me deal with her, Su Sheng said. Alright. Liuji had also noticed this. His chance had come. Su Sheng bit the tip of his finger, and fresh blood dripped onto the talisman in his hand. The shimmering golden talisman immediately turned blood red. Little girl, for me to become one of the 8 great commanders is not just for show. The crimson talismans filled the sky, transforming into a giant dragon that charged toward Ya Tyangen. Ya Tyangen swung the amorous hoop. The azure sea-tide art swept toward the giant dragon like a dragon swimming on the sea. The intensity of the battle immediately escalated several times over. Liuji's expression was indifferent. The red patterns on Ling Shu's body emitted a dazzling light. He flew toward Liuji through the air. No, stop him, that's the golden dragon seal. An 8-leaf grand divine ability. The girl was a little too careless. Zui Yushu stomped her foot in anxiety. The 4 elders of the evil sky pavilion simultaneously left the protection of the barrier and flew straight toward Liuji. Liuji seemed to have anticipated this. He sent out several palm seals with his left hand to stop the elders, while his right hand gripped Ling Shu and slashed down. A cold flame ignited in Liuji's eyes as he said, Brother Ji, it's time for you to go. At that moment, Ya Tyangen executed a grand divine ability, flashing over in an instant and striking Ling Shu with her palm. Boom. Ha. Liuji raised an eyebrow. This palm strike had caused Ling Shu to deviate from its course. But the price Ya Tyangen had to pay was the golden dragon seal arriving right behind her. Boom. The golden dragon seal struck Ya Tyangen squarely in the back. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. The speed was too fast. Hift. Ya Tyangen spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. 6th junior sister. 6th senior sister. Even though she was an 8-leaf, it was already rare for her to have held on for this long. She had done her best. Everyone stared wide-eyed as the white-robed figure, stained with red blood, slowly fell. Ya Tyangen's eyes were still fixed on Lu Zhou. In that instant, 1,000 memories flashed through Ya Tyangen's mind. She remembered her youth, going up the mountain to learn from her master. She remembered the scenes of her fellow disciples playing together. She remembered the helplessness of having to leave the evil sky pavilion, and the feeling of anger and despair when her master crippled her cultivation. She had asked herself countless times, did she regret it? No matter when, Ya Tyangen's answer remained as firm as ever, no regrets. Everything has its cause and effect. All things must go through reincarnation. She had to pay for the karma she had created. Ya Tyangen smiled in satisfaction. It was all over. Su Sheng, having succeeded in one strike, gloated. Overestimating yourself. Struck by Ya Tyangen's palm, Liuji's Ling Shu sword deviated, stabbing into a spot 1 meter to the left of Lu Zhou. Just then, a blue lotus suddenly bloomed, with Lu Zhou at its center. The blue lotus expanded to its maximum size, and a colossal energy swept in all directions. As the lotus leaves opened, Liuji, who was in the middle, was instantly sent flying without any ability to resist. The aftershock did not stop there but continued to spread, the blue lotus's energy also slanting into Sushang. Sushang and Liuji were like kites with their strings caught, flying far into the distance, spitting blood. At that very moment, Lu Jiao, who was seated in meditation within the blue lotus, suddenly opened his eyes. Lu Jiao, who was seated in meditation within the blue lotus, suddenly opened his eyes. In that instant, they were as bright as stars in the night sky. The extraordinary power of the human scroll and the earth scroll had finally successfully merged. Although the extraordinary power of the human scroll was nearly depleted, the extraordinary power of the earth scroll now filled Luju's body. His seclusion was a success, and he had officially emerged. However, the scene before him was perplexing. Luju's gaze fell upon the blood-soaked white figure plummeting to the ground. He frowned, murmuring in confusion, "Wicked disciple." Out of the corner of his eye, Lu Yu also saw Liuji and Su Shen flying backward. Why are you injured? Lu Yu slowly rose to his feet, his eyes scanning the surroundings. The blue lotus beneath him gradually faded. He saw the 4 elders, his disciples, and the female disciples kneeling in the square before the main hall of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Ya Tyangen's falling body hit the barrier of Golden Court Mountain. The barrier, as smooth as crystal, allowed her to slide down toward the cliff face. Her white robes were now dyed red. Lu Zhou's brow furrowed. In his mind, the preceding events instantly replayed like a film. Everything that had just happened flashed before his eyes. Despite his advanced age and composed nature, Lu Zhou's face turned purple with rage. He shot downward, raising a hand and striking toward Ya Tyangen with a Mahana Mudra seal. Ya Tyangen, still sliding down the mountain, looked at the approaching hand seal with hazy eyes. This scene was so familiar. Years ago, during the battle at Qinjiang Mountain, her master had used the same move to capture her and cripple her cultivation. The only difference was that this time, the Mahana Mudra seal lifted her up, suspending her in mid-air. Lu Jiu could feel Ya Tyangen's life force rapidly draining away. Ya Tyangen struggled to raise her head, whispering softly, "Master. I have no regrets." Lu Jiu finally spoke. "Repaying kindness with your life. I have never regretted it," Ya Tyangen replied, trembling. Lu Jiu shook his head. "I cast you out of the sect. You don't hate me. I don't hate you." Her life force continued to fade. In an instant, her black hair turned snow white. Ya Tyangen's consciousness began to blur. The power of the golden dragon seal was wreaking havoc inside her body. She felt her mouth go dry. Lu Jiu raised a hand, and a burst of life-giving energy bloomed, temporarily stabilizing the life force within Ya Tyangen. But her life was still being continuously depleted. Lu Jiu realized that Ya Tyangen might die. "Master. Don't waste your primal Kai. The great calamity is still ahead," Ya Tyangen said with great difficulty. "I have so much I want to say to you, Master. But there's no time left." Her breath grew faint. The power within the golden dragon's seal was beyond anyone's imagination. The female disciples of the derived moon palace, prostrated on the ground, wept bitterly. The 4 elders of the Evil Sky Pavilion also remained silent. "Rest well. You will not die," Buddha said. "Before I die, I want to ask Master for one thing," Ya Tyangen said intermittently. "What is it?" "Want to return to the Evil Sky Pavilion. I have no home to return to. Please. Please agree, Master." Ya Tyangen struggled to sit up and knelt in mid-air. The fatal wound could not suppress her unyielding will. She kept howling to him. Once a teacher, always a teacher. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the two, filled with anticipation, waiting for the Evil Sky Pavilion Master's answer. The human heart is inherently soft. In such a situation, who could remain unmoved? A master and a disciple, one old and one young, one kneeling and one standing. After what felt like a long time, Lu Jiu finally spoke a single, calm word, "All right." Ya Tyangen smiled. Then, she closed her eyes and collapsed. Lu Jiu waved his sleeve. An energy seal, like a small boat, caught her and carried her inside the barrier. The 4 elders immediately channeled their primal Kai to receive her. Lu Jiu's gaze left Ya Tyangen and turned toward Liuji and Su Sheng in the distance. Su Shen was heavily injured but still had the strength for one more fight, his eyes filled with extreme caution. Although Liuji had been sent flying, he was uninjured. Aside from his hair being slightly disheveled, he was fine. Lu Jiu slowly ascended into the air, his expression incredibly cold as he stared at the two men hovering in the distance. He didn't bother to think why Liuji and Su Sheng hadn't fled and instead dared to remain and confront him. Lu Yu had already seen the sword in Liuji's hand, the Ling Shu sword. Liuji met Lu Yu's gaze. Things had come to this point. There was no turning back. Just as Liuji was about to speak, he heard Lu Yu snarl, word by word, "You were get in face. But you didn't want it." As he spoke, Lu Yu shot downward. The crowd cried out in alarm, their eyes shining with excitement as they watched the pavilion master. The old master was unleashing the demeanor of a nine-leaf cultivator. No matter who the enemy was, they had complete faith in Lu Yu. "If you don't want to live, why should I let you?" Lu Yu raised a fist and punched toward Liuji and Su Sheng. Su Sheng's face flushed red, his battle intent soaring. As someone who had dominated battlefields for years, he had never feared death. Mobilizing both his arms, Su Sheng unleashed his energy and roared, "Your Majesty, fall back. Let me meet his fist with mine." Lu Yu's fist was covered in a blue energy seal. The two fists, one gold and one blue, collided. The impact created a sharp, ripple-like wave of energy. The outcome was without suspense. With a crisp crack, Su Sheng's right arm was severed and sent flying. His entire body was thrown backward, flying past Liuji before crashing to the ground with a loud thud, kicking up a cloud of dust. Liuji didn't catch Su Sheng. Instead, he stared in shock at Lu Yu's punch. How could you have trained your fist energy to such an extreme? He was like a body, tempering cultivator who had reached the absolute peak. The Jitayando that Liuji knew was not skilled in fist techniques. Why was this punch so powerful? The dust gradually settled, revealing the scene. In the crater, Su Sheng clutched his shoulder where his arm had been, coughing violently. He was severely wounded and vomited blood, staining his chest and the ground red. Lu Yu said indifferently, "Do you enjoy bullying my disciples?" Su Sheng's body was racked with pain. He could feel his life slipping away. He couldn't withstand a single blow. Lu Yu's words were a merciless taunt. Su Sheng lay on his back, staring at the sky, his aura so weak he couldn't move. Even if he lived, it would only be to be beaten. Liuji frowned, his hand tightening around Ling Shu. "Brother Ji, you are not worthy." Lu Yu's figure flashed, interrupting Liuji. The unnamed sword appeared in his palm, its energy coiling around it. Liuji's expression darkened as he raised Ling Shu to meet the attack. Fling! A cold glint flashed as unnamed and Ling Shu collided. After one move, the two hovered in the air, back to back. Liuji's arm was still outstretched, holding the Ling Shu sword. This sword is named Ling Shu. Thefin grade. It has inscriptions carved on it specifically to counter the power of the nine-leaf. Have lost. As soon as he finished speaking, crack, a line appeared on the Ling Shu sword, and then it broke in two. The crisp sound of the sword breaking made Liuji's heart tremble. He turned his head to look, his eyes immediately widening in disbelief. What just happened? Liuji's heart sank. He retracted his arm to examine the Ling Shu sword. In his hand was only half a blade. He suddenly spun around to look at Lu Yu. Lu Yu's right hand held the unnamed sword, his back to Liuji. On the body of unnamed, dark black runes pulse. "What weapon is that?" Liuji exclaimed in shock. Xiao ignored him. He flipped his palm down, and the unnamed sword immediately shot downwards. The blade was wrapped in a shimmering blue light, its speed increasing. Liuji followed the sword's direction with his eyes and, with a start of understanding, shouted, "Stop, let me." Before he could finish, Liuji rushed after the sword. Liuji struck out with a palm. A blue palm seal sent Liuji flying. The unnamed sword descended from the sky like a meteor. Its sword energy suddenly expanded, piercing straight through Su Sheng's chest. Boom! Su Sheng, already severely wounded and without any strength to resist, was impaled by the unnamed sword, pinning him to the ground. "I'll be taking this life of Su Sheng's." Ding! Killed one target. Reward, 1,500 merit points. Blasted away by the palm strike, Liuji suddenly realized that Lu Yu's strength far exceeded his imagination. His eyes filled with disbelief. He clutched the half-broken Ling Shu sword, struggling to stabilize himself. He looked down at Su Sheng, who had been killed by the unnamed sword. "But I did it for the world, for Great Yuan, for the common people. Why? Why must you insist on breaking through to the nine-leaf stage?" Liuji asked 3 questions in a row. Even for someone as steadfast and experienced as Liuji, his emotions were in turmoil. Lu Yu looked at him indifferently. All just hypocritical words. "I'll be taking your life as well." With a flick of his wrists, the unnamed sword in Su Sheng's chest shot up and returned to Lu Yu's palm. The sword's energy elongated. Liuji stepped through the air toward Liuji, the longsword vibrating. Liuji placed a hand on his Dantian's Sea of Guy. A powerful primal cry erupted as he began to burn his Sea of Guy. The inscriptions on the Ling Shu's sword also began to burn fiercely. Liuji spat a mouthful of blood onto the sword's blade. The Ling Shu sword glowed with a crimson light, looking incredibly eerie. I didn't want to do this, but you forced my hand, Brother Ji. In that case, let's fight to the death. The two swords clashed again, just like before. A blue binding seal appeared on Liuji's body. The Ling Shu sword pierced through the binding seal, but the unnamed sword also pierced through Liuji's protective energy. It was over in an instant. Liuji looked down and saw his protective energy had been sliced open, his primal kai leaking out like air from a punctured ball. He turned to look at Liu Xiao. The binding seal only had a small crack, which quickly repaired itself. In this exchange, Liuji had lost again. He was stunned, his fingers trembling. He gripped Ling Shu so tightly his knuckles turned white. Liuji spoke again. With just this, you dare to provoke me. Liuji gritted his teeth, and ordered, open the box. Yes, your majesty. Two guards hurriedly opened the box again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This time, when the box opened, a large number of paper talismans appeared. All the talismans were inscribed with crimson runes. They flew toward Liuji at a speed faster than a cultivator using a grand divine ability. The talismans stuck to Liuji's body, covering him and even merging with his flesh and blood. The red runes on the half-broken Ling Shu sword also flew off and merged into Liuji's body. At this moment, Liuji looked exactly like a mummy. The runes glowed brightly. Liuji looked at the pile of paper talismans on Liuji and said indifferently, "You've finally used it." Liuji's voice became deep and suffocated. These talismans were left by that mysterious expert. They make me immortal. I am not afraid of you. Liuji shook his head slightly. I thought it was some treasure. Turns out it's just this kind of evil art. This is enough, Liuji said. Brother Ji, it seems you have forgotten. The nine-leaf world is inherently evil. Otherwise, why would you have to seal your own memories? You know about the memory crystal. I will not allow anyone to break through to the nine-leaf, even if you are my old friend. I advised you once and I can advise you a second time. If that still doesn't work, then I'll kill you. As soon as he finished speaking, Liuji's entire body erupted with speed so fast that only a faint red light remained. Amidst the cries of alarm from the Evil Sky Pavilion members, Liuji shot through the air toward Liuji. Just when everyone thought the two would engage in a fierce, healing match battle, Liuji suddenly raised his hand, his 5 fingers extended. A blue light appeared on his palm, transforming into a massive palm seal that grabbed Liuji's body. Crack! The 5 fingers clench. Liuji could feel his extraordinary power being continuously consumed. It was clear that Liuji was much stronger than before. This palm seal consumed nearly a quarter of his extraordinary power. Immortal. Liuji looked at Liuji, who was caught in the palm seal. Liuji's facial features had also been permeated by 2 paper talismans, making it impossible to distinguish his eyes, nose, and mouth. He looked extremely grotesque. You can't kill me. Then let's see. Crack, crack. The crisp sound of bones breaking was terrifying. No one knew exactly how strong a nine-leaf cultivator was, but seeing the pavilion master's various techniques, the members of the Evil Sky Pavilion all agreed that it was the power of the nine-leaf. When he didn't move, it was calm. When he moved, it was world-destroying. Through the palm seal, Liuji could feel the divine ability of path life memory transforming into the Mahana Mudra seal, twisting Liuji's internal organs and shattering his bones. But Liuji did not hear the system's notification. The palm seal dissipated. Liuji fell straight to the ground. Still not dead. Liuji deserved him. Should I use a deadly strike card? But that wouldn't be profitable. Liuji had about a quarter of his extraordinary power left. At this moment, a red light flashed on Liuji's body. His broken joints returned to their original positions, and his internal organs reformed as before. Ming Xian, watching from a distance, was dumbfounded. What kind of evil art was this? It was truly disgusting. No one in Great Yan had ever cultivated such a resurrection-style evil art. Even with sorcery, a living person was needed to manipulate puppets using formations crypts. The idea of turning oneself into an immortal was unheard of. The patterns on his body looked similar to the patterns on the coffin that the Lulan people brought. Could the foreign tribes have researched this evil art? Impossible. If the foreign tribes had such an art, they would have used it on a large scale to invade Great Yan long ago. The others nodded, none of them able to comprehend it. That Liuji possessed such a technique was truly beyond everyone's expectations. Liuji was also observing the mummy gradually recovering. Deft, Liuji spat out a mouthful of blood and then took a deep breath. He wasn't bothered by his current state. Instead, he was excited, a smile spreading across his face. The talismans worked. He had truly become immortal. This also proved that what the mysterious expert had said was true. Liuji looked up at the sky and laughed maniacally. I am immortal. Liuji recalled a sentence written in the heavenly writing by the person in the coffin. No one can live forever. So, Liuji hovered in the air, observing and thinking about where Liuji's weakness lay. After a moment of thought, Liuji said, You revere the words of that expert so much. You must have heard him say that no one in this world can live forever. Liuji was struck as if by lightning. His eyes widened as he looked at Liuji in the sky. You've met him too. Liuji saw the crimson runes on Liuji's body flashing continuously. He raised his hand, and the unnamed sword hovered before him. On its body, dark black runes faintly appeared. Red and black were opposing forces. Liuji recalled the epitaph in the sword burial mounds and the tomb of Emperor Yuan Shiji. Liuji asked, You were in the sword burial mounds for a long time. Liuji stood up and replied calmly, To forge an immortal body, one must absorb a great deal of yin and yang energy. No wonder. The body is a vessel. To bear more power, the vessel must naturally be stronger. The black energy on the epitaph didn't seem much different from the red energy on these patterns. Liuji spread his arms, looked up at the sky, and said, The truth has proven that I have successfully refined my body and become immortal. It's a bit too early to say that. Liuji brought his hands together. The last quarter of the extraordinary power in his body was channeled into the unnamed sword. The sword immediately condensed its energy into blades. Several hundred sword energies crisscrossed the sky and instantly descended. Liuji looked up, wanting to dodge, but found that his entire body was locked in place. Tendo. The end of my lifespan arrived long ago. The only reason I'm still alive is thanks to these runes absorbing life force. I knew the secret of the golden lotus absorbing human lifespan 300 years ago, but I didn't tell you. What can you do to me? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Myriad sword energies pierced through Liuji's chest. All sounds ceased. The unnamed sword returned to Liuji's palm. He looked at the sword's body. The black runes were still there, just a little faded. Liuji looked down at the hole in his chest. There, the red patterns did not reappear. The wound did not heal. Fresh blood gushed out, dripping to the ground. Liuji couldn't believe it. Liuji descended to stand opposite Liuji. The truth has proven that no one is unkillable. Liuji looked around, his eyes filled with confusion and panic. Everything was slipping away from him. The beautiful rivers and mountains, the common people of the world, all things between heaven and earth were rapidly fading. The wound still wouldn't heal. Liuji staggered back a few steps as if a great army were charging at him. He waved his arms frantically, screaming madly, Kill, kill, kill. But occasionally he would cry out in fear, Don't come here, don't come here. Fresh blood covered the ground. Everywhere he stepped was stained red. I will not die. I cannot die. You lied to me. You lied to me. Liuji's voice grew hoarse, his movements stiffening. Blood flowed from his 7 orifices. 2 lines of bloody tears streamed from his eye sockets. Liuji did not make another move but watched him indifferently. Suddenly Liuji said, I was wrong. Liuji did not reply. After a moment of silence, Liuji seemed to have thought things through and let out a few laughs. He clasped his hands behind his back, looking proud, and raised his head to the sky, saying calmly, Brother Ji, see me off on my way. Where is the memory crystal? Go to the Lilan royal family and look. I will grant your wish. Liuji waved his hand. A massive palm seal descended from the sky. Liuji maintained his imperial posture, his arms spread wide, his head held high, a smile on his face. I only hope that in the next life, I can be friends with you again. Boom, the 5 fingers pressed down. With the absolute saint guy, Liuji was turned to dust. Dane, killed 1 target. Reward, 2,000 merit points. At the same time, Huang Shiji and Yiren's fight had moved from the foot of Golden Court Mountain to the west. Who knows how long they had been fighting. The two had exchanged countless moves, and 80% of their primal Kai was depleted. Both sides were in a stalemate. Yiren glared at Huang Shiji. Huang Shiji, you old fool, if I don't kill you, I swear I am not a man. Huang Shiji sat on the ground, laughing heartily. Oh, I'm so scared of you. The righteous Kai of the Confucian school seemed gentle, but in reality, it was incredibly fierce. It combined hardness and softness, and when unleashed, it gave the impression that the user was full of righteousness. That was why countless cultivators favored Confucian techniques. Among the 8 great commanders of the divine capital, Su Sheng and Gu Yiren were both masters of the Confucian school. Du Yiren always acted according to military orders. Emperor Huang Shiji had battled the foreign tribes and created an era of peace and prosperity. For the world, for Great Yan, for the common people, Gu Yiren would absolutely not forgive anyone who wanted to disrupt His Majesty's grand plans. When Gu Yiren unleashed his righteous Kai, the surrounding area was filled with character talismans, which in an instant arranged themselves into the shape of a long dragon. Golden Dragon Seal. With Gu Yiren's loud roar, the seal flew toward Huang Shiji. Huang Shiji's eyes widened. He gritted his teeth and mustered all his strength to respond, simultaneously erupting with energy to form a wall, like shield in front of him. Boom! The golden dragon seal collided with the energy wall, shattering it in an instant. Huang Shiji was forced to retreat. The golden dragon seal continued its attack. At this point, every move they made was a deadly one. The slightest carelessness would lead to eternal damnation. Gu Yiren flew forward, striking out several palms in conjunction with the golden dragon. Several large characters appeared in the golden dragon's eyes. Huang Shiji frowned and clasped his hands to receive the blow. Huang Shiji, you've been tricked. The golden dragon seal suddenly split into 2, attacking Huang Shiji from 2 directions. Boom! By the time Huang Shiji separated his hands, it was too late. Before the energy seals in his hands could be unleashed, he was struck by the golden dragons. Huang Shiji was sent flying, stumbling as he fell. Gu Yiren nodded in satisfaction. The 2 golden dragon seals circled around him. Island Master Huang, is this all you've got? Gu Yiren, Brother Ji is already a 9 leaf. Why must you remain so stubborn? Huang Shiji said, trying to persuade him while enduring the pain. Old fool, if His Majesty wasn't certain, he wouldn't have casually walked into the tiger's den. Liuji is also 9 leaf. Huang Shiji asked in astonishment, the world cannot have a 9 leaf, nor does it allow a 9 leaf to exist. I've said what I needed to say. It's time to send you on your way. Gu Yiren wasted no more words. The 2 golden dragon seals merged back into one. The golden dragon coiled and flew before Huang Shiji. I am not one who fears death. Huang Shiji erupted with primal Kai. Just as Huang Shiji was about to muster all his strength to block the strike, whoosh, a deep sound came from the sky. The unique sound drew the attention of both men. In the sky, a jasper sabre was spinning as it fell at an incredible speed. The spinning blade carried a sharp wind, completely different from other sabres. Most importantly, the sabre's target was the golden dragon seal. Just before impact, the sabre suddenly shot out a blade of energy. Swish! The golden dragon seal was sliced in 2. In an instant, it shattered like glass and dissipated in the air. The backlash from the golden dragon seal caused Gu Yiren's expression to change. He was forced back more than 10 steps, stomping hard on the ground to barely stabilize himself. Gu Yiren's heart pounded with fear as he looked at the sabre before him. After slicing the golden dragon seal in 2, it spun twice before embedding itself in the ground. The sunlight reflected off the polished blade, creating a brilliant gleam. Anyone with eyes could tell that this sabre was extraordinary. Even gray weapons could break through protected energy. That was a long-established characteristic. But for a sabre like this to be able to cut a golden dragon seal, there were few in the world. And there was only one person in the world who possessed a sabre made of jasper. A name appeared in both of their minds simultaneously, Yuan Hai. Only the first disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, the master of the Nether sect, the 8-leaf expert who swept through the cultivation world, Yuan Hai, would have such a technique. Gu Yiren's heart immediately panicked. He subconsciously looked up at the sky. Sure enough, as expected, Yuan Hai, dressed in a long robe with his hands behind his back, was slowly descending. Yuan Hai touched the ground, and a ripple of energy spread out in all directions. The jasper sabre resonated, flew up, circled, and returned to his hand. Gu Yiren swallowed hard. They were both 8-leaf, but there were different levels. Even though he was one of the 8 great commanders, when faced with Yuan Hai, both his presence and his cultivation were weaker by 30%. Gu Yiren did not want to fight such a powerful opponent. He didn't even want to see Yuan Hai. Yuan Hai slowly looked at Gu Yiren and said indifferently, Gu Yiren. Dude. Yuan Hai. Yuan Hai suddenly swung his hand, sending out a palm strike. Gu Yiren hurriedly raised a hand to block, retreating 3 steps. Yuan Hai shook his head. One of the 8 great commanders. Yuan Hai struck again. His palm seal forced Gu Yiren to use both hands to block, pushing him back 5 steps. Yuan Hai said grimly, You dare to provoke the evil sky pavilion. Take another palm. This time, Frieren used the force of the blow to retreat, stepping into the air, turning, and fleeing. From the moment he saw Yuan Hai, Frieren knew he couldn't win. Escaping was the best option, the only way to save his life. He flew into the air with all his might, his leaf avatar carrying his righteous kai. You haven't finished fighting. How can you leave? Yuan Hai swung the Jasper saber. The saber flew out in a spiral, its speed far exceeding Frieren. Halfway through its flight, the Jasper saber, carrying its energy, expanded into a massive windmill-like blade. The great dark heavenly palm. Dark heaven starlight. The Jasper saber, carrying its energy, expanded into a massive windmill-like blade. Great dark heavenly palm. Dark heaven starlight. The trees within 100-meter radius were all sliced apart. The dark heaven starlight slashed fiercely into Friren's avatar, tearing a gash in it. Frieren had no choice but to withdraw his avatar and land on the ground, his face pale with shock as he warily watched Yuan Hai. Don't want to fight you, Frieren said, backing away. You say no fight, and there's no fight. Yuan Hai clasped his hands behind his back and slowly walked toward him. This was truly ridiculous. Frieren was one of the 8 great commanders, and Yuan Hai was the master of the Nether sect. They were destined to meet again in the divine capital. As enemies, how could they not fight? Frieren gritted his teeth. I admit your cultivation is higher than mine, but if I fight to the death, you might not come out unscathed. Yuan Hai looked at Frieren like a wolf eyeing his prey. Then let's see. He waved his hand. The Jasper saber circled and flew out. Saber shakes the river and hills. Several saber energies flew toward Frieren with a bizarre trajectory. Frieren hadn't expected Yuan Hai to attack so suddenly. His expression changed, and he brought his hands together. Righteous Kai appeared. But at that moment, Yuan Hai's figure flickered. Using a grand divine ability, his speed surpassed the Jasper sabers. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Frieren and struck out with a palm. Boom! The palm seal hit Frieren in the chest. His body slid across the ground, his blood surging, making it difficult to breathe. He crashed into a tree before coming to a stop. The Jasper saber did not continue its attack but flew back. Frieren clutched his chest, looking at the Nether sect master in disbelief. Yuan Hai's fighting style was fierce, but not without skill and experience. The dignified great commander, bullying an old man. Have you no shame? Frieren really wanted to say, I'm an old man too. Yuan Hai's words also made Huang Shiji feel awkward. Yuan Hai took another step forward. Frieren's eyes were red. You're just taking advantage of my predicament. Fine. I will give you 3 moves. Yuan Hai extended his left hand in a gesture of invitation. You want to humiliate me? It was only then that Frieren realized that with Yuan Hai's strength, he could have used a thunderous technique to kill him from the start, but he hadn't. Yes, Yuan Hai nodded. A scholar would rather be killed than humiliated. Some people are not worthy of respect. Very good. Frieren's spirit was at its limit. He couldn't escape. He was completely trapped. He took a deep breath and raised his right hand, looking at his palm. His emotions gradually stabilized, and his eyes grew sharp, as if he had come to disregard life and death. I have never used this move before. If Sect Master Yu insists on forcing my hand, then I have no other choice. I only hope to satisfy you. He placed a hand on his Dantian Sea of Kai, which began to burn fiercely. The righteous Kai, like a blazing fire, began to expand. Frieren's eyes turned red, and his bones and tendons gradually changed. Seeing this, Huang Shiji said in surprise, Sect Master Yu, it would be best to avoid this. Yuan Hai ignored Huang Shiji's advice, only looking at Frieren indifferently. In his life, Yuan Hai had met many experts. The 3 schools of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism divided the world, and each had its own strengths. In the past, other experts had displayed their unique techniques before him, so he had seen so much that he no longer cared. The flames of the righteous Kai burned continuously, and Frieren's aura grew stronger. But just as he was about to launch his attack, the Jasper saber suddenly bloomed into a flower petal. Whoosh! Swish! The Jasper saber neatly sliced across Frieren's neck at a speed so fast that no after image could be seen. The battle was over. Yuan Hai didn't look at Frieren's body, but turned indifferently and walked toward the evil sky pavilion. Huang Shiji looked at Frieren with great confusion. That's it. It wasn't until Frieren's head slowly slid off his neck and rolled on the ground that Huang Shiji, despite being the master of Penglai Island, was startled with fright. He didn't dare to look anymore and turned to follow Yuan Hai. Don't underestimate my previous action. Frieren was burning his essence blood, and Sea of Kai. If I had let him truly unleash his attack, it would have been quite troublesome to kill him. I don't have time to play these boring games with him. Since he was going to die anyway, it's better to take his life with one strike. Yuan Hai explained as he walked. Sect Master Yu's methods are heaven-defying. It has truly broadened my horizons, Huang Shiji replied. Yuan Hai suddenly stopped and turned to look at Huang Shiji. How has brother Huang been recently? Huang Shiji had helped him quite a bit, so it was only natural to show some concern. Huang Shiji smiled and replied, thanks to Brother Ji's help, lifting Penglai Island with his bare hands, my island has escaped from dire straits. That's good. Of course, it's also thanks to Sect Master Yu's timely rescue. Frieren was really difficult to deal with, Huang Shiji said. Yuan Hai laughed heartily. We are brothers. Brother Huang calling me Sect Master Yu sounds so distant. Huang Shiji was slightly taken aback. He didn't mind calling Yuan Hai brother, but the problem was that he also called Ya Tyangen Brother Ji. Wouldn't that mess up their seniority? Yuan Hai understood Huang Shiji's predicament and patted his shoulder. Brother Huang, don't worry. Master is master, we are we. All right. Although he agreed verbally, Huang Shiji still felt it was a bit strange. Yuan Hai laughed heartily. Let's go. Did you come straight from Yuzhou, brother? That's right. How is the situation at the Evil Sky Pavilion? The two were now flying through the air. Not very optimistic. Huang Shiji shook his head and sighed. Emperor Yuan Shu isn't dead yet. It seems he has mastered an extremely evil method to prolong his life. Brother Ji is still in seclusion and cannot fight. The other's cultivation is not high enough. I'm afraid their lives are in danger, Huang Shiji explained. Yuan Hai's expression immediately turned grim. Brother Huang, I'll go on ahead. Without waiting for Huang Shiji's reply, Yuan Hai's figure flashed, and in the blink of an eye he was 100 miles away. He used his grand divine ability several times in succession, leaving Huang Shiji in awe. Huang Shiji was in no hurry. His primal Kai was mostly depleted, and he wouldn't be of much help even if he returned to the Evil Sky Pavilion. The Evil Sky Pavilion has finally regained its former glory. This is how a first senior brother should be. Huang Shiji suddenly thought of his own disciple, Jian Ajin, and immediately muttered with disgust, that stinking brat. Comparing people really makes you mad. On Penglai Island. Who's talking bad about me? Jian Ajin woke with a start, and sat up. Li Zhenyi was standing in front of him, smiling, holding a feather, and tickling his nose. What time is it, and you're still sleeping in? Jian Ajin waved the feather away and pursed his lips. Junior sister, don't mess around. For senior brother, the battle in Yuzhou was about to break out. You haven't given me any pointers yet. Ever since Li Zhenyi entered the palace and joined the army, becoming Wei Shuyan's trusted aide, she had always been guided by Jian Ajin. With Li Zhenyi's help, Wei Shuyan had been able to become the commander of the three armies. Later, when the real Wei Shuyan died and the fake one took over, his position was not as high as before. But Li Zhenyi's position remained unshakable. Senior Ji has done us a great favor. Of course, we must stand on his side. Wei Shuyan will follow the orders from the palace. So, you can just play the disappearing act, and let him do his own thing. Jian Ajin said. You don't care about the imperial family? Liuji asked. After all, Jian Ajin was the third prince of Great Yan. I don't care, Jian Ajin said carelessly. He leaned his head against the chair, tilted his head, and continued to sleep. If master comes back, remember to let me know in advance. This chair of master's is so comfortable. I have to take another nap. At the South Pavilion. Mr. 6 junior sister's condition is not good. If this continues, I am afraid. Mainshi Yin had examined Ya Tyangen and was very worried. Lu Zhou looked at Mainshi Yin. Fourth disciple, go down the mountain and clean up a bit. If anyone comes, report back immediately. Yes, disciple obeys. Mainshi Yin turned and left. Zuo Yoshu then spoke up. The golden dragon seal is extremely vicious. The power of the golden dragon in her body must be dispelled before her life force can be restored. But I fear it is too late. Ling Lu recalled the scene of the pavilion master treating Princess Yongning and said, perhaps the pavilion master could try his healing techniques. Lu Zhu glanced at Ling Lu and said, if there's nothing else, you may all leave. Yes. The crowd bowed respectfully and left the South Pavilion. Only the female disciples remained, kneeling on the ground and constantly kowtowing to Lu Zhu. Lu Zhu glanced at them and said indifferently, Ya Tyangen is my disciple. I will not let her die. Li. in days. The female disciples left with peace of mind. The south pavilion finally became quiet again. Liuji entered the room and saw Ya Tyangen with her snow-white hair lying unconscious. He frowned and raised a hand. An enhanced version of the deadly healing card appeared and was crushed by Liuji. The light fell onto Ya Tyangen's chest. The miraculous energy seeped into her body, soothing her severely damaged meridians. The corrosive power within the golden dragon seal was expelled from her body, and her internal injuries recovered at a rapid pace. The effect of the enhanced, deadly healing card was astonishing. After 15 minutes, the healing process stopped. But the deadly healing card could only restore 60% of her injuries, which was just over half. To completely heal her internal injuries, some other means were needed. Liuji slowly extended his hand. The incantation for the healing divine ability appeared in his mind. A blue lotus appeared and fell upon Ya Tyangen. A vast life force emanated from the south pavilion, seeping into the main hall, the east pavilion, and the north pavilion. The disciples of the evil sky pavilion nearby were also attracted by this life force. They all looked up toward the south pavilion. Little Yuan Hai and Kanj, who were sitting on the roof of the south pavilion, also turned to look. Master is healing sixth senior sister, little Yuan Hai said with anticipation. Sixth senior sister seems very powerful, Kanj said. Yes. All the female cultivators on the mountain are sixth senior sister's former subordinates. Although she is powerful, her life has been very tragic. The four elders in the south pavilion also looked up. Yoshu was shaken by this powerful life force. She recalled the last time the four elders had summoned their avatars to maintain the energy for the Blue Lotus. The life force that time could not be compared to this. It seems the pavilion master's cultivation has improved again. The others looked at each other. A 9-leaf has appeared. The cultivation world is entering the era of severing the golden lotus. I believe it won't be long before someone attempts to reach the 9-leaf stage. We old folks must also work harder. But is there really a 10-leaf after the 9-leaf? Wudo asked doubtfully. The other three elders were also startled. Yoshu said, I once read a classic in the Confucian school's library. It said that human cultivation progresses from the body-tempering realm to the mystic enlightening realm, the Brahmancy realm, the divine court realm, and then to the nascent divinity realm. From the mystic enlightening realm, one opens their avatar, in the order of 1 kai, 2 ceremonies, 3 flowers, 4 symbols, 5 kis, 6 recombinations, 7 stars, 8 methods, 9 revolutions, 10 directions, and 100 tribulations. When one opens the 100 tribulations avatar, they will condense a golden lotus and open lotus leaves. Reaching the 10-leaf stage is the 1,000 realms whirling. As for the rest, I don't remember. All the major sects have some ancient classics, and many of them record the division of cultivation realms. After the 100 tribulations is the 10,000 supreme avatar. It's just that humans today have formed different sets of truths. Anything outside of these truths is considered fabricated and unreal. Some storytellers like to exaggerate and often talk about the 1,000 realms whirling and the 10,000 supreme. That's why these are classified by the cultivation world as realms that only exist in stories. Plodhio nodded. If we can confirm that the 9-leaf avatar is 50 feet taller than the 8-leaf, and if the 10-leaf is truly the 1,000 realms whirling, then it will naturally be even more terrifying. Old Hua, it's too early to talk about the 1,000 realms whirling now. How can that realm be so easily broken through? The pavilion master has only just advanced to the 9-leaf stage. I suspect his recent seclusion was to stabilize his 9-leaf realm, Pan Lishan said. This statement was agreed upon by everyone. Lang Lu looked up at the room where Ya Tyangen was in the south pavilion. It wasn't until the life force dissipated that he said, severing the golden lotus is not the only way. The pavilion master once said that severing the golden lotus is only one of the methods. But if you don't sever the golden lotus, it's very difficult to advance to the 9-leaf stage. The cultivation world has gone through so many years, but has anyone succeeded? Han Lishin said. If you haven't experienced it yourself, how can you conclude that no one has succeeded? Perhaps for some special reason, the 9-leaf experts have disappeared, Lang Lu said. As soon as this conjecture was put forward, the other elders were startled, their hair standing on end. At the same time, Liuji withdrew his hand and looked at Ya Tyangen. This one heavenly writing definability had completely exhausted his extraordinary power. Before he had the Earth Scroll, 1/3 of the extraordinary power in the human scroll could kill a 7-leaf expert. To kill an 8-leaf, he needed to use more than half of his extraordinary power. After the seclusion, the human scroll and the Earth Scroll had completely merged, which was equivalent to Liuji being able to use double the extraordinary power. At the same time, the divine abilities of the heavenly writing had also become stronger. Ya Tyangen's internal organs had been healed, but he couldn't restore her white hair. He didn't know how many years of her lifespan had been lost. Fortunately, she cultivated the Azure Sea Tidar, so she still looked young. The heavenly writing divine ability, in the end, could not restore lifespan. Lifespan seemed to be a forbidden zone of the heavens. Even the heavenly writing divine ability could not touch it. At this moment, Ya Tyangen suddenly coughed and slowly opened her eyes. Her hazy consciousness gradually cleared, as if she had just woken from a very long dream. Master. Ya Tyangen looked up in surprise. It's good that you're awake. Liuji was not too satisfied with the result of the treatment, but being able to save Ya Tyangen's life was not bad. Ya Tyangen was startled and wanted to get off the bed to bow, but Liuji waved his hand, and an energy wave supported her. Stay in bed. Although your life has been saved, your body is still very weak, Liuji said. Ya Tyangen understood that it must have been her master who had saved her. She hurriedly bowed her head and said excitedly, Disciple thanks master. Seeing her emotional state, Liuji did not rush to speak but waited for a moment. You were hit by Su Sheng's golden dragon seal. To recover to your previous state, I'm afraid. Before Liuji could finish, Ya Tyangen shook her head and replied, Disciple is lucky to be alive. How could I dare to hope for more? Liuji stroked his beard and nodded. He slowly turned around, his back to Ya Tyangen, his hands behind his back. I have cast you out of the sect. Why do you still want to return to the evil sky pavilion? Disciple has made a great mistake. I only hope to atone for my sins. You have died once. I have also punished you. The master-disciple relationship has long been severed. Why must you come back here to seek a meaningless death? Hearing this, Ya Tyangen looked up and said, Disciple only hopes to atone for my sins. I didn't think that much. I ask you, do you sincerely want to return to the evil sky pavilion? I am eccentric and violent. I like to kick people and punish my disciples. Do you still want to return to the evil sky pavilion? The evil sky pavilion is considered a demonic path. Many people want to eliminate me. By returning to the evil sky pavilion, you may have to face the entire world. Disciple doesn't even care about my life. Why would I care about these things? Ya Tyangen replied. All right. Liu turned around, his eyes meeting Ya Tyangen's. Then I will restore your status as the sixth disciple of the evil sky pavilion. Are you willing? Ya Tyangen was overjoyed. She hurriedly bowed and replied, Disciple is willing. Just as she was about to bow, Liuji waved his hand. No need. You already performed the grand ceremony, when you were young. Disciple thanks master. Ya Tyangen was so moved that tears welled up in her eyes. Liuji looked at Ya Tyangen and saw a series of information in his eyes. Name, Ya Tyangen identity, white race realm, nascent divinity at the same time. Ya Tyangen's loyalty was A5, a very high number. This was completely beyond Liuji's expectations. As soon as she returned to the evil sky pavilion, her loyalty was already as high as little Yuaners. At this moment, a voice came from outside the door. Congratulations, sixth senior sister. Congratulations, sixth senior sister. Little Yuaner and Conch appeared outside the door. Liuji beckoned for Conch to enter. Ya Tyangen didn't know Conch, and looked at the little girl before her with confusion. Conch obediently walked up to Ya Tyangen and bowed. Greetings, sixth senior sister. Sixth senior sister, this is our new junior sister, Conch, whom master just accepted. You're not the youngest junior sister anymore, little Yuaner said. Ya Tyangen nodded and smiled. So you're my junior sister. She carefully observed and sized up the little junior sister, Conch. Ya Tyangen knew that her master was very strict in accepting disciples. Someone her master valued must have their own merits. You two go out first. I have something to say to your sixth senior sister. Yes. Sixth senior sister. I'll come and play with you tomorrow. The two held hands and skipped out of the room. We can talk about Conch's matter later. Liuji asked. When did you advance to the A-leaf stage? Hearing this question, Ya Tyangen immediately recounted everything she had encountered after leaving the evil sky pavilion, how she had devoted herself to cultivation and recovered from her injuries, how she had met her second senior brother, Yu Shangron, and then how she had gone southwest to the Moonlight Woodland and met the Qing Huang. She spoke very lightly and calmly, but Liuji knew how much hardship was involved. Hearing about the Qing Huang, Liuji asked in surprise, does such a creature really exist in the world? It really does. Disciple entered the Moonlight Woodland, thinking there was no chance of survival, but unexpectedly met the Qing Huang. Ya Tyangen was a person of few words, but when she recounted these experiences, she seemed to have forgotten the wounds on her body, becoming more and more animated as she spoke. She didn't forget to describe the appearance of the Chen Huan, and even mentioned the various strange beasts in the abyss and the difficulties she encountered during her cultivation, as well as the joy of opening a leaf. Liuji stroked his beard and listened, occasionally showing surprise, occasionally nodding in agreement. Half a day passed in the blink of an eye. After listening to the story, Liuji opened his mouth and said, "I didn't expect the Chen Huan to really exist in this world. It seems that the records in the classics are not just exaggerations." Ya Tyangen nodded and replied, "It's a pity the Chen Huang is unwilling to leave the Moonlight Woodland. With a body that size, it's true that it shouldn't leave. If a huge beast like that were to enter the human world, I'm afraid it would be besieged by the whole world," Liuji said. "Master is right. The classics say that riding the Chen Huang can extend one's life by 2,000 years. What do you think?" Disciple didn't feel anything. "I have ridden on the Chen Huang's back many times, but I feel it's no different from a mount," Ya Tyangen replied. The Chen Huang was indeed not as simple as imagined. The fact that the classics could record it proved that the writer knew of its existence, but the cultivation world believed it to be a myth. Seeing that it was getting late, Liuji stood up and said, "Your injuries have not yet healed. Rest well." "Master, the imperial family's provocation of the evil sky pavilion." Before she could finish, Liuji raised a hand to interrupt her. "I will remember this debt of the imperial family." After speaking, he turned and left. Watching Liuji's back, Ya Tyangen bowed and said, "Disciple respectfully sees Master off." At the foot of Golden Court Mountain, Yuan Hai observed the traces of the battle. Besides surprise, there was only worry and frustration. Had I come back too late? The ground was littered with blood, and deep craters created by palm seals. Yuan Hai frowned and said nothing. He followed the blood trail, his anger growing with every step. Just then, a voice came from not far away. "First senior brother." Ming Xian ran over, dragging a corpse behind him. "First senior brother, I knew you wouldn't ignore the evil sky pavilion." Ahem. Yuan Hai immediately stood up straight, his hands behind his back, his expression extremely serious. "Fourth disciple, what are you doing with that here?" Yuan Hai glanced at the corpse. Ming Xian replied, "You mean this? This is the corpse of the guard who followed Liuji here. I killed them in a fit of anger." Yuan Hai's eyelids twitched. He didn't know what to say. "First senior brother, come up the mountain with me to see Master." "I was just passing by." "I won't go up the mountain," Yuan Hai said quickly. "Passing by? You're passing by a place 1,000 miles away." Ming Xian looked around and said, "First senior brother, you're late. Master just came out of seclusion and beat that old man Liuji to a pulp. As for that Susheng, hey, his body is over there. It's a tragic sight. He was flattened and stabbed through the heart with a sword." "Ah. First senior brother, why are you sweating so much?" Ming Xian asked in surprise. "Really? It must be a little hot. From the Brahman Sea realm to the 8 meridians." "I said it's hot, so it's hot." Yuan Hai's voice rose. Ming Xian immediately loosened his collar and fanned himself with his hand. "It does seem a little hot." Yuan Hai said, "Fourth disciple, isn't second junior brother at the evil sky pavilion? With Yu Shangron's methods, if he were at the evil sky pavilion, even if Liuji brought Susheng, they wouldn't have been able to pose a threat. Not to mention, Huang Shiji had also come to help." Ming Xian said, "Didn't second senior brother go to Yusha to find you?" Yuan Hai's heart skipped a beat. "First senior brother, you should still go up the mountain to see Master, and have a talk. It's not good to just stand here," Ming Xian suggested. "Let me think about it." "Yes, first senior brother. Take your time to think. I'll go back first." Yuan Hai remained silent, looking up at the evil sky pavilion. He stood still, not leaving. Seeing Huang Shiji flying over from a distance, Yuan Hai waved his hand, signaling for him to go up the mountain first. Huang Shiji was also shocked by the traces of the battle. He had originally wanted to say a few words, but seeing that Yuan Hai's expression was not right, he turned and flew up the mountain. The sun was setting in the west. In the east pavilion, Liuji opened the system interface. Name, Liuji race, human cultivation. Nascent divinity, Hun merit points, 112,233 avatar. 100 tribulations remaining lifespan, 20,596 days items. Deadly strike card zone, critical block card 62 passive. Imprisonment cage 4, biases, auspicious J, deadly healing card stew, enhanced, deadly healing card zone, thunderblast cone, disguise card x2, Taishu mirror appearance altering card x4, reversal card x49 weapons, unnamed, life, severing saber, jade horsetail west cultivation method. 3 scrolls of the heavenly writing. The biggest gain from this comprehension was unlocking the earth scroll of the heavenly writing. The rest was not worth mentioning. Liuji checked the prices of the item cards. As expected, they had all increased. The deadly strike card and the damage immunity card had both increased to 10,000 points. But on second thought, Liuji now had the extraordinary power of the heavenly writing, so he didn't need to use these 2 types of cards often. His mentality balanced out. Besides, when it came to a critical moment, who would think about whether using a card was profitable or not? So, where did the system's authority increase? Just as Liuji was wondering, a voice came from outside. Disciple pays respects to master. Mingxi Yin bowed. What is it? Island Master Huang has returned. First senior brother arrived in time to rescue him. The island master killed Gu Yaran. Mingxi Yin replied. Where is he now? Disciple has arranged for island master Huang to rest in the south pavilion. As for first senior brother, he is at the foot of the mountain and doesn't have the courage to come up. He won't come up. Lu Xiao frowned and snorted. I gave him half a year. Instead of managing the nether sect, he runs to the evil sky pavilion to watch me make a fool of myself. I gave him half a year. Instead of managing the nether sect, he runs to the evil sky pavilion to watch me make a fool of myself. Master, you've misunderstood first senior brother. I saw that you were in seclusion and couldn't come out to deal with Liuji in time. So I sent a letter inviting first senior brother and Huang Shiji to help. Mingxi Yin explained. Liuji did not reply. The time it took to comprehend the earth scroll had indeed exceeded his expectations. The 4 elders had severed their golden lotuses and were rebuilding their cultivation. It would be difficult for them to advance to the A-leaf stage within 5 months. Moreover, one knew whether an A-leaf without a golden lotus was stronger than one with one. Even if the other disciples' cultivation progressed rapidly, they were no match for an A-leaf. This matter really couldn't be blamed on Mingxi Yin. But it was also true that this Yuan Hai did not know how to respect his master. Tell him to get lost, Lu Xiu said indifferently. Master, first senior brother came all this way. He had good intentions. Telling him to get lost. Isn't that a bit? Mingxi Yin hesitated. If you sympathize with him, then go down the mountain and stand with him. Disciple. I didn't mean that. I just feel. Yes, first senior brother should get lost. After speaking, Mingxi Yin bowed, withdrew, and then turned to go down the mountain. Sure enough, Yuan Hai was still standing there, his hands behind his back, his attitude neither arrogant nor servile. He looked up at the evil sky pavilion, his thoughts unclear. Seeing Mingxi Yin coming down, Yuan Hai smiled and nodded. I knew you had a good heart. 4th junior brother. Come, let's have a chat. Mingxi Yin. What? Nothing. First senior brother, what are you doing here? The scene evokes emotions, recalling the past. I can't help but feel a little sad. Yuan Hai sighed. Mingxi Yin thought to himself, what is there to evoke emotions here? He didn't know what to say. Yuan Hai said, when I first joined the sect, I was much more mischievous than you disciples. Every corner of Golden Court Mountain has my footprints. I love this mountain. I could spend a whole day just looking at every plant and blade of grass. This sounds so strange, Mingxi Yin thought to himself, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. First senior brother, are you really not going up the mountain to visit master? Mingxi Yin probed. No, Yuan Hai said with his hands clasped. The old man is old. Master and I have nothing to talk about. How do you know if you haven't tried? Mingxi Yin muttered. Yuan Hai laughed heartily. How long have you been in the sect? 50 years. I have been in the sect for nearly 300 years, Yuan Hai said with a condescending tone. In this world, no one understands master better than I do. Mingxi Yin thought for a moment and finally said, if you really understand master, then you should have a heart. Do art talk with him. 4th junior brother, you not master's lobbyist, are you? Yuan Hai turned to ask. Mingxi Yin dropped his carefree attitude and clasped his hands. First senior brother, master told you to get lost. As far as you can. If you can't, then commit suicide on the spot. Master will absolutely not save you. These are his exact words. What else did he say? Yuan Hai's eyes widened in anger. If I say it, you'll hit me, Mingxi Yin chuckled. Just say it. I won't blame you. Master also said that of the 10 disciples he has taken in this life, you are the most incompetent one. Ouch, first senior brother, you said you wouldn't hit me. Let go, there's still the last half of the sentence. Ming Xian hurriedly retreated, adjusted his collar, and continued. Master said you are the most useless one, always timid and fearful, as timid as a rabbit. Yuan Hai clenched his fists, his heart burning with anger. Fourth disciple, hand me my saber. I am going up the mountain. After speaking, he threw the jasper saber. It spun a few times, and landed in Ming Xian's hand. Yuan Hai clasped his hands behind his back and walked into the barrier, as if no one was there. Ming Xian watched Yuan Hai's back, his heart pounding. That was a close call. The sun slowly set, and shadows gradually enveloped the mountain. Ming Xian and Yuan Hai quickly ascended the mountain toward the evil sky pavilion, even using a grand divine ability. First senior brother, wait for me. At this moment, Yuan Hai had arrived outside the east pavilion. Returning to his old haunt, Yuan Hai should have felt a sense of nostalgia and about how things had changed, but for some reason, he felt nervous. Maybe next time. Just as Yuan Hai turned to leave, he remembered what Ming Xian had just said, and felt unwilling. Timid and fearful. Timid as a rabbit. He turned back. Ming Xian came to Yuan Hai's side and said softly, first senior brother, why aren't you going in? Ahem. Yuan Hai quickly came up with an excuse. Fourth disciple, it's so late. I'll come back another day. Ming Xian looked at the sky and thought to himself, the sun has just set. First senior brother, master said that about you, and you're not angry. It's natural for a master to scold his disciple. How can his disciples hold it against him? Yuan Hai patted Ming Xian's shoulder. You're young and hot-tempered. You should be like me and look at things more openly. I'll be leaving now. Just as Yuan Hai was about to turn and leave, a deep voice came from within the east pavilion. Since you're here, come in. Yuan Hai's heart pounded as if it were about to jump out of his chest. Even Ming Xian was surprised. Since when had master's hearing become so sharp? Bang! The door to Liuji's room was suddenly pushed open by a gust of wind. Liuji walked out calmly, one hand behind his back and one in front of him. His salt and pepper hair moved slightly, and his long robe flowed, giving him an immortal-like aura. As soon as he stepped out, Liuji used a grand divine ability. Swoosh! He instantly appeared at the entrance of the east pavilion. Yuan Hai's eyes widened, and his body trembled slightly. Dane taught Yuan Hai a lesson. Reward, 200 merit points. Ming Xian bowed and said, Master, disciple will take his leave. In this situation, fleeing was the best option. It was best not to get involved and get caught in the crossfire. Liuji ignored Ming Xian. His gaze swept over Yuan Hai, and then he walked toward the back mountain. Yuan Hai understood. Although he was nervous, things had come to this point, and he had no choice but to follow. The two walked one after the other, neither fast nor slow, like ordinary people. At the back mountain, Pan Zhang and Yu Jifeng were diligently cultivating. The sky had not yet darkened, and they could see quite clearly. Brother Zhou, quick, someone new has arrived. Pan Zhang pointed at Liuji and Yuan Hai. If I'm not mistaken, this person must be a friend of the pavilion master. Damn it, stop your nonsense guessing. There's only one word, run. Pan Zhang nimbly dodged away. Yu Jifeng nodded. Makes sense. Then he also slipped away to another spot, pretending not to have seen Yuan Hai. Liuji walked straight to the highest point of the back mountain, which was also the quietest place in the evil sky pavilion. He turned around indifferently, stroked his beard, and said, You killed Frieren. Yuan Hai came to his master's side and looked at the rolling mountains before him, replying softly, Yes. Previously, when the 10 great experts besieged Golden Court Mountain, where were you? Yuan Hai's heart skipped a beat. Master, the old man, has indeed been holding a grudge about this. I sent one of the 3 great sword freaks, Chen Wenji, to provide support. I didn't expect him to be a two-faced person, Yuan Hai replied. Lu Xiao shook his head. What can mere Chen Wenji do? When the 10 great experts besieged us, even a 7-leaf-like Chen Wenji would only be courting death. The first time the 10 great experts besieged us, how did they know my whereabouts? The one who revealed your whereabouts has already been killed by you. Yuan Hai immediately denied. Yang Xiao. Liuji had also guessed it was Liuji. This time, after fighting Liuji had learned a lot more. One thing was certain, before Ji Tiandao died, he had tried to break through to the 9-leaf stage and even had hope of advancing. Liuji had said that he could advise him once, and he could advise him a second time. If he still wouldn't listen, then he would kill him. Yuan Hai said again, I admit I have selfish intentions. I will not make excuses. Liuji stroked his beard. You want this country that much. It is. And after you get it, we move to ask it. Hearing this question, Yuan Hai suddenly fell silent. Night fell, and the sky twinkled with stars. The back mountain became extremely quiet. I haven't thought that far ahead, Yuan Hai finally said. I'll think about it after I get it. Liuji slowly turned to face Yuan Hai and said in a deep voice, I still remember when you first entered the sect. You were still a teenager. But you were different from the others. You had been through countless hardships, understood the suffering of the world, and endured things that others could not. I remember when you entered the mystic enlightening realm, you were overjoyed and proud, and you once swore an oath to reach the highest position. Hearing this, Yuan Hai's heart skipped a beat. There were many things he no longer remembered. He didn't expect his master to still remember. Perhaps because he had been through so many hardships, the memories in his mind were like a stagnant pool of water, unable to stir up any ripples. My mistake was not teaching you well, Liuji said. This sentence startled Yuan Hai. What kind of person was his master? How could he casually admit his mistakes? Yuan Hai knelt on one knee, his fist on the ground. Disciple does not dare. You call yourself a disciple, but I dare not call myself a master, Liuji sighed. Ding. Taught Yuan Hai a lesson. Reward, 200 merit points. Yuan Hai lowered his head, not daring to speak. Perhaps in a short while, you will be the king of a country. At that time, I will have to bow to you when I see you. Yuan Hai's entire body shook, and his other leg also knelt down. Why would master say such a thing? Am I wrong? Liuji stared at Yuan Hai and said loudly, I have a spy named Jian Izhen. He is the third prince of the imperial family of Great Yan. If he wanted to inherit the throne, it wouldn't be difficult. But do you know why he left the court and the imperial family? Yuan Hai shook his head. Because he personally witnessed more than 1,000 lives in Jing Palace perish in a sea of fire, including his own mother. Liuji paused for a moment and then continued. He could have become the emperor, holding immense power, and then avenged the more than 1,000 lives of Jing Palace. But he didn't. He chose a smarter way. There was no need to say the rest. Liuji believed that Yuan Hai already knew about Jian Izhen's matter through Siwei, and he also believed that the incident at Shuntian Garden had reached his ears. A tremor appeared in Yuan Hai's voice. I am not like him. Master, disciple dares to ask you a few questions. Speak. Yuan Hai looked up, meeting Liuji's gaze. In his mind, he kept replaying the time he was sold to Little Lan, and the scene of people fighting over a small steamed bun. Do you know what it feels like to have to eat mud for a whole month? This question was very bold. When Yuan Hai asked it, his palms were soaked with sweat, and his back was cold. But remembering Meng Xian's words, he persisted. Do you know what it feels like to have someone step on your face, unable to even move? Do you know the pain of being stabbed in the heart by the person you trust the most? Liuji could tolerate the previous questions, but the last one directly tore open his master's scar. Liuji snorted coldly, and waved his hand. Impudent. Slap. Yuan Hai was slapped across the face. Ding. Punished Yuan Hai. Reward. 200 merit points. Yuan Hai did not dodge, but braced himself to receive the slap. Then, he persisted. Master, you are high and mighty. You are the master of the Evilest Pavilion, the number 1 leaf of your time. Who would dare to say no to you? The disciple is not. Thus. His trembling voice gradually became deep and powerful. I am a piece of trash. Anyone can step on me, spit in my face. Is your life noble and precious, while the lives of the common people are trash? When a pig or a dog is tied up and the butcher comes with a knife, they still know how to scream and struggle. Am I not even as good as a pig or a dog? Do I not even have the right to struggle? I just want to climb up, step by step, climb to the very top. Yuan Hai suddenly pointed at the mountains and forests in the distance. Only by standing at the very top can you make everyone look up to you in admiration. As soon as he finished speaking, Liuji roared, Shut up. Yuan Hai was stunned, looking at his master's serious and angry expression. His heart grew even more flustered. Liuji was disappointed that he couldn't be forged into steel. You're mad. You think you're the most miserable person in the world. You think I wasn't spat on when I was young. 300 years ago, I was at the peak of the 8-leaf stage. The remaining 700 years of hardship were no less than yours. Do you really think I advanced to the 8-leaf stage easily? I have swallowed so much bitterness, only I know. Do I have to be like you and complain endlessly? Is it not hard for me to have taught an 8-leaf like you? Where is the so-called fairness in this world? You are shallow and ignorant. How could I have such a disciple? Yuan Hai's mind went blank. For a moment, he couldn't speak. Master. Yuan Hai suddenly realized that he had thought too highly of himself. That's right. In this world, no one could easily step into the A-Leaf stage. Which A-Leaf hadn't gone through thousands of hardships. Liuji said with a stern face, "Don't call me master." Yuan Hai kowtowed. Thump. His forehead hit the ground. The air was still, and all was quiet. Liuji clasped his hands behind his back to Yuan Hai, and said nothing more. The two remained silent and motionless, one kneeling and one standing. Liuji did not speak, and Yuan Hai did not speak. This lasted for a whole hour. When the moon rose to the top of the branches and the night sky was twinkling with stars, Liuji finally sighed. The sigh broke the silence. The sigh made Yuan Hai's whole body tremble. "I said so much just to make you understand one thing. It's fine if you want revenge, but you can't let hatred blind you. It's fine if you want to conquer the divine capital, but you can't let power delude your heart." Yuan Hai was startled. His heart itched, and he didn't know what to say. Liuji turned around. Yuan Hai immediately kowtowed to the ground. Thump. Yuan Hai was prepared to be punished. He had mustered all his courage to speak the words hidden deep in his heart. Even if his master wanted to punish him, he would not complain. In the past, his master's temper was not good, and he didn't like to reason. If a disciple dared to talk back, it was disrespectful to the master. Not to mention, he had been so bold today. This kowtow was a sign of respect for his master, and also a hope that his master could understand his thoughts. Liuji looked at Yuan Hai, who was prostrated on the ground, and shook his head. "Get up and talk. Disciple does not dare. What needs to be said has been said. If you like to kneel so much, then just kneel." Only then did Yuan Hai look up and stand. He had to be spoken to in reverse for him to listen. This personality of Yuan Hai's had been the same since he was young and had never changed. It was just that Ya Tyangen was not a person who liked to reason. Most of the time, he used his fists to subdue people. Although fists were a good thing, and could solve many problems, there were some things that could not be solved even if they were smashed with fists. Liuji looked at Yuan Hai again. Even though Yuan Hai had forced himself to be calm, he still felt breathless when he stood up. The conversation just now had made him feel very pressured. The dignified master of the sect was feeling so nervous at this moment. "All right." Liuji waved his hand and walked to another side. "A real man only bleeds. To be so long-winded is not worthy of being a disciple of the evil sky pavilion. How can you conquer the divine capital like this?" Hearing this, Yuan Hai's heart trembled. He hurriedly strode after Liu Dao. "Master, you really agree?" Liu Yo walked and said, "I always keep my word. There is less than a month left of this half-year period. I will settle your debt with you all at once." Yuan Hai was overjoyed. He bowed and said, "If that's the case, disciple has one more request." "Speak." "Now that the 9 provinces are controlled by the Nether sect, if possible, I hope the evil sky pavilion will not interfere in this matter," Yuan Hai said. Liuji stopped and turned to look at Yuan Hai. "Are you sure?" "Of course, except for 7th junior brother," Yuan Hai said. "Nothing in this world is ever absolute. I hope master will agree." Liuji did not answer immediately but walked forward calmly. Before long, he came to a large rock. On the rock was carved a character, Hey. Liuji pointed at the character. "This is the mark you carved when you were young. Do you still remember?" The crooked character Hai appeared before Yuan Hai. Even though it had been eroded by wind, rain, and the years, the writing was still clearly visible. Yuan Hai smiled and replied, "I remember." Liuji turned around and looked at Yuan Hai, saying slowly, "You are the eldest. You should be tolerant of everything. I hope the iron laws of the evil sky pavilion are also like this character, deeply engraved in your heart." Yuan Hai knelt on one knee again. Fellow disciples are not to kill each other. Disciple has always kept this in mind, and has never dared to forget. The character carved on the rock reminded Yuan Hai of the time when he was learning on the mountain. 300 years had passed in the blink of an eye. The plants and trees on the mountain had all changed. The wind blew Liuji's beard. Even though the reversal cards had made Liuji much younger, his appearance was still that of a frail old man. Liuji looked at Yuan Hai with a sincere expression. "Yuan Hai, I was once like you, and you will eventually be like me. If you could go back again, what would you choose?" Yuan Hai was stunned. Liuji did not wait for his answer but flicked his sleeve and left. The back mountain became quiet again. After a long time, Yuan Hai whispered, "If I could go back again, I would still choose the same." On the mountainside of the evil sky pavilion, Ming Xian saw Yuan Hai down the mountain. "First senior brother, how was your chat with master?" Is master much gentler than before? Yuan Hai did not answer Ming Xian's question. He strolled down the mountain, admiring the scenery, which made Ming Xian feel anxious. Yuan Hai should have wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Why was he now enjoying the boring scenery? Walking down the mountain step by step like this was so slow. Fourth disciple, I heard that master has just accepted a new junior sister. Ming Xian nodded and replied. That's right. This little girl is a natural mystic in lightning realm. After cultivating for 5 months, she is already in the late Brahmancy realm. Even faster than 9th junior, her sister back then. A little girl with such talent. No wonder master accepted her as a disciple, Yuan Hai said. Even if master didn't accept her, other sects would have fought to take her. Yuan Hai asked strangely, this little girl really has no relationship with master. First senior brother, what do you mean? You understand. Why do you have to ask me back? I really don't understand. Forget it. After a while, Yuan Hai and Ming Xian had reached the foot of the mountain and were outside the barrier. Fourth disciple, take good care of master for me, Yuan Hai instructed. First senior brother, you also know how to care about people. What? I will definitely take good care of him. First senior brother, please rest assured, Ming Xian said. Yuan Hai lightly tapped his toes and flew away, disappearing into the night sky in the blink of an eye. Only then did Ming Xian pat his chest and let out a sigh of relief. My God, that was dangerous, that was dangerous. Fortunately, I didn't say anything wrong. As soon as he finished speaking, a disdainful voice came from behind a dense tree next to him. Just false pretenses. Ming Xian jumped in fright and turned to look. Second senior brother, why are you here? Fourth disciple, such a big thing happened in the evil sky pavilion. Why didn't you send me a letter? Yu Shangrong asked. Ming Xian sighed inwardly. This is not good. He suddenly felt that life was so difficult. Did he have to tell him directly that his strength was still weak and he would just be cannon fodder if he came? He would be beaten to death. Second senior brother, your whereabouts are unpredictable. I couldn't contact you. Last time, master complained that you didn't send a letter back, so this time I sent a letter to first senior brother. Hearing this, Yu Shangrong's brows finally relaxed. He nodded and said, I have wronged you. It's fine, it's fine. In the future, if something similar happens, you must inform me immediately, Yu Shangrong said. Definitely. Ming Xian saw that he was about to leave and hurriedly said, second senior brother, aren't you going back to the evil sky pavilion to rest? No. I still have things to do. After speaking, Yu Shangrong flew away, respectfully sending off second senior brother. This time, Ming Xian was smarter. As soon as he saw him off, he immediately ran into the barrier and returned to the evil sky pavilion. The next morning, Liuji opened his eyes. He could clearly feel that the speed of comprehending the extraordinary power had increased. At the same time, the capacity to store the power had also increased. Therefore, it would still take 5 to 7 days to comprehend it to a full state. Liuji did not continue to comprehend the heavenly writing but stood up and observed the old goatskin map. He found that no new areas had appeared, so he returned to sit cross-legged and continued to study the system. After the system upgrade, the extraordinary power was enhanced, and Liuji also obtained a new divine ability. Thinking of this, Liuji recited the incantation for the first divine ability of the earth scroll of the heavenly writing. Sure enough, a soft conversation began to come to his ears. Master has come out of seclusion. Soon, he will test the progress of the disciples. This is no joke. In the past, whoever didn't meet the standard would be beaten up and have to be carried back to their room to recuperate. It was Zhu Honggong's voice. Am I that fierce? But the pavilion master doesn't seem like a violent person, the female disciples exclaimed in surprise. You don't understand. This is called knowing a person's face but not their heart. You can't measure the sea with a bushel. Do you think I'm really a fool? Hada, I'm really a fool. Zhu Honggong sighed helplessly. What can I do? I wasn't smart to begin with since my parents gave birth to me. Teft, the female disciples giggled. Listening to the 8th Mr. speak is better than reading books for 10 years. Liuji understood that the first divine ability of the earth scroll was hearing. Let's see how far I can hear. At present, this divine ability consumed very little extraordinary power, but the range of hearing was not wide enough. With a thought, the range covered by the divine ability became wider, but at the same time, the consumption of extraordinary power also increased. Another voice came to his ear. Heaven grade Ling Shu. I must find an opportunity to refine it, or use it to strengthen my separation hook. Refining it is too difficult. I wonder if Master has a way. No, Master must have forgotten about this sword. It's better if I hide it. If Master asks, I'll just say I lost it. Damn, I'm a genius. Impudent. I almost forgot about that Ling Shu sword. Liuji didn't bother to argue with Ming Xian. He once again increased the extraordinary power, and the range of the hearing divine ability expanded again. This time, Liuji heard the sound of rushing water, which was the waterfall near the back mountain. Duan Yushen must be practicing his spear techniques. The third disciple is still the most honest. Just as Liuji was about to expand the range again, he suddenly felt a wave of exhaustion in his mind. A wave of fatigue immediately washed over him. Liuji stopped using the divine ability. Such a large consumption. Although Liuji only had 1/6 of his extraordinary power, proportionally, 1/6 could instantly kill a 7-leaf expert. He didn't expect it to be almost consumed in just a moment. The divine ability is good, but the consumption is too great. I must be careful when using it in the future. The divine ability is good, but the consumption is too great. I must be careful when using it in the future. Liuji didn't think about it anymore and called out, "Someone." A voice replied from outside, "At your command, Pavilion Master. Order the disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion to gather at the East Pavilion." Before long, Duan Yushen, Ming Xian, Xu Honghan, Little Yuan and Kunch appeared in the East Pavilion, lining up in order of seniority. Although Pan Zhang and Zhu Jifen were not Lu Xiu's disciples, they also came to stand outside and observe, hoping to learn something. Ya Tyangen was still recuperating in her room, and did not participate in the examination. The door opened. Lu Xiu walked out with his hands behind his back, glancing at everyone. Disciple pays respects to master. The disciples bowed. Lu Xiu looked at Ming Xian. Fourth disciple. Yes, disciple is here. Ming Xian hurriedly and excitedly stepped forward. Bring out Ling Shu. Ming Xian was startled. I will only say it once. I will not repeat myself a second time, Lu Xiu said calmly, his voice deepening. Disciple will go and get it now. Ming Xian hurriedly returned to the South Pavilion, brought Ling Shu, and respectfully presented it to his master. Everyone's eyes were focused on the Ling Shu sword, their expressions filled with admiration. A heaven-grade weapon was already a coveted treasure, let alone a super heaven-grade one. Lu Xiu took Ling Shu and observed it carefully. The red patterns on the sword's body were not carved but had been refined and were now one with the sword. The intricacy of the patterns was no less than that on the coffin. Lu Xiu placed 2 fingers on the sword's blade. Primal ki flowed in, creating a resonant hum. Unfortunately, this sword was broken, and the patterns were incomplete, so it could not emit a red light. Without the power of the patterns, the grade of this sword had dropped significantly. Lu Xiu pieced the 2 parts of the sword together, and channeled his primal ki again. The red patterns lit up, but the light they emitted was not strong. Master, this sword is super heaven grade. Such a treasure should be repaired to avoid waste, Xu Honggang said. 8th junior brother is right. Master, Lu Ping of the Luo sect is skilled in this. Should we call him to repair Ling Shu? Duan Musheng said. I don't think Lu Ping can handle these patterns. Ordinary people can't refine them. He's only at the 6-leaf stage and doesn't have the ability, Ming Xian said. Lu Xiu looked at Ming Xian. Do you have a solution? Oh, Ming Xian bowed and replied. Then put it in the pavilion. Even if there's no way now, it doesn't mean there won't be in the future. Ming Xian swallowed his tears, took Ling Shu into the East Pavilion, and then obediently returned to stand in the courtyard. 8th disciple, Lu Xiu called. Yes, disciple is here, Xu Honggang said. How is your cultivation? Disciple was fortunate not to disgrace you. After 5 months of arduous cultivation, I am now at the 2nd leaf of the nascent divinity realm, having advanced by a whole leaf. Previously, I had no experience in opening leaves, Xu Honggang said proudly. Master, look. He raised his hand, and a 2-leaf avatar without a golden lotus appeared in his palm. Everyone nodded in admiration. If it were a great cultivator who had severed their golden lotus and was rebuilding their cultivation, opening 1 leaf in 5 months would be a bit slow. But Xu Honggang was not like that. His speed was already considered astonishingly fast. Xu Honggang withdrew his avatar, and waited for his master's praise. But Lu Xiu only stroked his beard and said, 20 strokes of the cane and 3 days of facing the wall. Xu Honggang. The crowd was stunned, and then they shivered. Their former master was back. They were about to be cursed and severely punished. Xu Honggang's cultivation speed was so fast, yet he was still being punished. What about the others? They were doomed. Go and receive your punishment now. Yes, Master's strict supervision is something I will keep in mind. I will definitely continue to work hard. I will go and receive my punishment now. Thing. Taught Xu Honggong a lesson. Reward, 200 merit points. Wu Zhu's gaze shifted to Zhao Yu. And you? Zhao Yu's heart skipped a beat. She answered nervously. Disciple is foolish. I am just a little short of opening the second leaf. Not bad. Continue to work hard. Thud. Xu Honggong, who had not yet left the courtyard, fell flat on his face. Eighth mister, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Nothing. Boo-hoo. That is what. The eighth junior brother left the East Pavilion in misery. The crowd sighed. Duan Yusheng stepped forward and bowed. Master, after 5 months of arduous cultivation, my current cultivation is at the third leaf of the nascent divinity realm. Please take a look, Master. He had severed his golden lotus and rebuilt his cultivation to the third leaf. The crowd looked at Duan Yusheng's avatar in surprise. Under the avatar, there was indeed no golden lotus, only 3 lotus leaves spinning. Liuji stroked his beard and nodded. Not bad. You can put aside your spear techniques for now and focus on opening leaves. Yes, disciple obeys. Deng guided Duan Yusheng. Reward 200 merit points. Lu Zhou looked at Meng Shiyin again. Meng Shiyin looked ashamed, constantly scratching his head. Then, he knelt down with a thud. Master, please punish me. I haven't severed my golden lotus yet. I feel that the 8-leaf stage is already very good. Why must I strive for the 9-leaf? I don't seek the 9-leaf. As long as I reach the 8-leaf stage and live for 1,000 years, serving by your side, old master, is enough for me. The crowd rolled their eyes. His flattery was 100 times more skilled than the 8th junior brothers. Lu Deng nodded slightly. You have your own aspirations. I will not force you. Disciple thanks Master. Master sees through everything. Master is the guiding light for me. Lu Zhou waved his hand. The crowd was annoyed. Someone as thick-skinned as Meng Shiyin wasn't even punished. Why was the 8th junior brother punished? Yuan Hai. Lu Zhou looked at Lil Yuan Hai. Before Kunch joined the sect, the entire cultivation world acknowledged that the youngest disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion had the most terrifying talent. In these 5 months, how much had she progressed? Everyone looked at little Yuan Hai with anticipation. Little Yuan Hai stepped forward and said, Master, don't scold me. I've worked very hard. She didn't say how many leaves she had opened, but quietly summoned her avatar. In little Yuan Hai's palm, a small, exquisite, and adorable avatar appeared. Below the avatar was a golden lotus, proving that she hadn't severed her golden lotus and rebuilt her cultivation. Around the golden lotus were the 5 leaves. 5 leaves. This isn't funny. Who can I complain to? 5 leaves. And she was still afraid of being scolded. If that was the case, the rest of them deserved a good beating. The 5 lotus leaves emitted a light that blinded the crowd. Little Yuan Hai looked up at her master, waiting for his evaluation. Luthia stroked his beard and asked, You didn't sever your golden lotus. It hurts. The crowd had nothing to say. Others didn't sever their golden lotus because their talent was poor, their realm was limited, or they were afraid of death. But little Yuan Hai, she was afraid of pain. Ming Shiyin hurriedly said, 9th junior sister, actually, I can help you sever your golden lotus without pain. Summon your avatar, and I'll use a lightning fast strike to knock you out. Before your avatar dissipates, I'll quickly slash it with my saber. Ming Shiyin even made a chopping gesture. That way, it won't hurt. Little Yuan Hai immediately withdrew her avatar and hid behind Conch, shaking her head vigorously. 9th junior sister, trust me, it'll be fine. Seeing that the little girl was scared to death, Lu Yu spoke up, That's enough. Ming Shiyin said no more. Lu Yu stroked his beard and said, 5 leaves. The speed is indeed very fast. You can advance to the 8-leaf stage first, and it won't be too late to sever your golden lotus then. Hearing this, a terrifying thought suddenly occurred to little Yuan Hai. In that case, she would never step into the 8-leaf stage in this lifetime. Although 4th senior brother was a bit annoying, his words made sense. Even if she didn't sever her golden lotus, her cultivation progress was very fast, enough to make those below her submit. The examination of little Yuan Hai ended. Immediately after, everyone looked at the last disciple, the 10th disciple who had just been accepted by Lucio. Everyone looked expectant. Everyone in the Evil Sky Pavilion knew that Conch was a natural mystic in Lightning Realm. She had entered the Brahman Sea Realm in 3 months, and now 2 more months had passed. They wondered if her cultivation had broken through. Conch, can you condense an avatar? The basic cultivation method clearly stated how to condense an avatar. Cultivators could condense an avatar at every stage after entering the mystic enlightening realm. Conch nodded and replied, yes. No one was surprised. Any cultivator could condense an avatar. Even someone with very poor talent could do it after a few tries. Summon it for me to see. Little Conch spread her hand. Energy vibrated. A small golden figure appeared in her hand. The moment they saw Conch's avatar, the crowd cried out in alarm. 5Ks. The 5Ks avatar corresponds to the Brahman Sea realm. The Brahman Sea realm has a total of 8 meridians. Opening one meridian is considered passing one stage. The 5Ks avatar means that little Conch has opened at least 5 meridians. The female disciples of the derived Moon Palace, Panjom, and Jujufeng were so shocked they were speechless. Little Yuan's talent had already surpassed their imagination. Yet, little Conch had advanced to the 5th meridian of the Brahman Sea realm in 5 months. A cultivation genius in a major sect would take decades to reach the divine court realm. How was someone like Jujufeng supposed to live? Jujufeng had once been very confident that he was a genius, that he had the qualifications to enter the sect. He had been the first disciple of the Heavenly Sword sect, and had some achievements in the way of the sword. At his age, to have entered the nascent divinity realm was already very talented. Jujufeng still remembered Senior Ji once saying that when he went to the Jian family, and saw that his aptitude was not bad, he had the thought of accepting him as a disciple. Now, looking back, he only felt like a pile of dung. Liuji was also surprised. This cultivation speed was indeed a bit beyond imagination. Even with 1,000 years of experience, Liuji had never seen anyone with such a fast cultivation speed. He walked up to Conch and said softly, "Give me your hand." Conch obediently extended her hand and rolled up her sleeve. Liuji used 2 fingers to check her meridians. After a while, Conch asked, "Master, am I okay?" The 8th meridian of the Brahman Sea realm. The East Pavilion fell silent. What was a genius? Perhaps Conch's talent could not be called talent, but a kind of aptitude that surpassed everyone's understanding. It was as Ming Xian had once said, her state was one of awakening. What did awakening mean? It meant that she already knew these things. Thinking of this, Liuji's heart skipped a beat. The more he understood Conch, the more he felt this way. How could anyone be a natural mystic enlightening realm, a natural master of music? Without learning, how could one know about music, and even combine musical notes into a gentle and refreshing tune? Liuji said, "Do not be arrogant. You must continue to work hard." "Thank you, Master," Conch replied happily. "Congratulations, junior sister." "Congratulations, junior sister." The others also congratulated her one after another. After 5 months, the strength of the disciples had increased significantly. For some reason, Liuji subconsciously looked up at the sky, recalling what Liuji had once said. If the 9 leaf truly led to a change in the world, what would the cultivation world do? Where was the mysterious expert who had once lived in the coffin? This person had come from the northern border more than 300 years ago, traveled through the various foreign countries, and then set foot in Great Yan, leaving behind the Ling Shu sword and the coffin carved with red patterns. If this person was truly a 9 leaf, was he still alive now? Conch took out the blue field jade flute. "Blow the tune you are most skilled at," Liuji suddenly said. Conch nodded, placed the jade flute to her lips, and began to play. The sound of the flute rang out. No one understood what the pavilion master wanted to do, and watched curiously. To play the flute, one had to control their breath with spirit. Ordinary people could do this, but cultivators used primal kai to control the music. Conch channeled her primal kai into the blue field jade flute. The sound changed, becoming more free and easy to manipulate. The range of the sound increased several times. Birds and beasts in the forest also flew up. It was Jiliang. On the mountainside, Jiliang rode the clouds and flew up, neighing as if it were very happy to hear the flute. With Jiliang here, other fierce beasts would not dare to come. Liuji also saw Jiliang, but he didn't know what special abilities it had. In general, it just looked like an ordinary horse, except that it could fly. Liuji no longer paid attention to Jiliang and continued to observe Conch. She had succeeded in controlling the sound with her breath on her first try. She condensed her energy into a blade. The energy formed, and was incorporated into the tune. When ordinary cultivators condensed their energy into a blade, they succeeded as long as their primal kai left their body. But cultivators of music had to go through an extra conversion process, sound. The 3 techniques of primal kai, sound, and energy seals had to be fused into one to form a sonic attack. Conch nodded and began to try to condense the energy. Everyone looked at her, hoping she would succeed. The sound of the flute gradually became agitated and hurried. Perhaps because her attention was diverted, the music was no longer balanced. Just when everyone thought Conch was about to fail, a humming sound suddenly rang out. Energy seals appeared in the air. She condensed her primal K. My junior sister is so amazing. Ming Xian looked up at the energy in the air. Music was not like the three schools of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. It did not have special symbols, character seals, or formation scripts. Therefore, the energy seals condensed from music all had the appearance of wind. When the speed was slow, it was a gentle spring breeze. When the speed was fast, it became a storm. The crowd cried out in alarm at Conch's amazing talent and comprehension ability. The energy flowed in the air and slowly dissipated in all directions. Although her current speed did not have the destructive power of a saber or spear, to be able to do this was already very amazing. Are you even letting people live? I'm truly impressed. I believe that the 10th Mister's talent is the highest in the Evil Sky Pavilion. Even little Yuan, who had the strongest talent, was amazed by the scene. She didn't look envious but clapped and cheered. Go, junior sister. Go, junior sister. With little Yuan's enthusiastic encouragement, Conch was filled with strength. She did not stop, but her primal ki circulated more and more violently. The 8th meridian of the Brahman sea realm had been opened. The primal ki vibrated. The sound of the flute suddenly became high-pitched, its rhythm as fast as lightning. Whoosh, whoosh. Everyone was startled and hurriedly summoned their protective energy to block the sonic attack. Everyone was surprised, except for Liuji, who frowned, because he had seen a faint red energy in the vibrating energy in the sky. In other words, Conch had condensed red energy. Red energy was extremely rare. The cultivation world believed that only by cultivating evil arts or mutated cultivation methods could the color of the energy be changed. The evil sky transformation turned energy seals black. The barrier originated from the heavens and the earth, so it was blue. Healing energy took life force from nature, so it was usually green. Other than those colors, the cultivation world of Great Yuan had never seen energy of a different color than the traditional yellow. This was the first time red energy had appeared. Saw. Liuji placed his hand on the blue-field jade flute and pressed lightly. The sound immediately stopped. Before the energy could truly form, Liuji did not want too many people to know about the red energy. The East Pavilion became quiet. Jilan turned and flew toward the forest at the foot of Golden Court Mountain, disappearing without a trace. Master. Conch looked up in confusion. The others also looked at Liuji. Conch had such potential, yet she was suddenly interrupted, which they couldn't understand. Liuji said, the examination ends here for now. No one is to spread any information related to Conch. If you disobey, I will not spare you. Everyone realized the seriousness of the matter and immediately bowed. We will obey the pavilion master's order. We will obey master's order. What was a genius most afraid of? It was being nipped in the bud before they had a chance to fully fledge. The pavilion master is indeed the pavilion master. His thinking is so thorough. The crowd secretly admired him. They didn't know that what Liuji was really worried about was the red energy. After the examination, the crowd dispersed. Liuji also returned to the East Pavilion. At dusk, Liuji looked at the Ling Shu sword with a headache. The person in the coffin, the red lotus, the few notes in the classic, and the woman with the surname Luo were all related to the 9 leaf. These clues all pointed to one thing. One should not enter the 9 leaf stage. He could ask others for help with the clues, but how could he investigate Conch's red energy? Red lotus, red energy. Could there really be someone in this world who cultivates red energy and condenses a red lotus? Are Conch and the person in the coffin from the same place? Divine capital, in the everlasting palace. Outside the study, heavily armed guards stood watch. The inner eunuch stood outside the door as usual and reported, Your Majesty, we have the results. The inner eunuch's voice was devoid of strength. Come in. The door opened. The inner eunuch felt a strange heat wave hit his face, causing him to cough violently. Liu Shan was still sitting cross-legged, his whole body emitting hot air. The inner eunuch did not have the courage to stare at the emperor, and hurriedly bowed his head, and knelt respectfully. The Grand Emperor, along with Su Shang and Yiren, went to the Evil Sky Pavilion. All were killed in battle. After saying this, the inner eunuch prostrated on the ground, not daring to move. After a long while, Liu Shan opened his eyes. He was not angry, not furious, only replying indifferently, I know. The inner eunuch couldn't understand. After all, The Grand Emperor was His Majesty's biological father. The Grand Emperor had just been killed in battle, yet His Majesty could be so indifferent. But the inner eunuch only dared to think this in his heart, not say it out loud. Your Majesty, now only Yushu and Jishu have not been conquered by the Nether sect. It won't be long before they surround the divine capital. All the civil and military officials want to invite your Majesty to court to discuss countermeasures. Hearing this, Liu Shang said indifferently, do I need to discuss what I do with a bunch of trash? Pass down the order. Let the Crown Prince take the commander's seal and lead the expedition. Choose one of the 8 great commanders. Order Wei Shuyan to abandon the defense of the border and return to counterattack Liangzhou. Order the imperial guards of the divine capital to be on high alert. If anything unusual is discovered, kill them without question. The inner eunuch's whole body trembled. He didn't dare to say another word, only replying, as you command. Then, the inner eunuch got up and respectfully withdrew from the study. Liu Shen opened his eyes. With a flick of his wrist, a small avatar appeared in his palm. The avatar had no golden lotus, only 7 full lotus leaves spinning around it. He clenched his fist, and nodded in satisfaction. Back to the A leaf, aiming for the 9 leaf. What do I have to fear from the Nether sect? What do I have to fear from the evil sky pavilion? Liu Shang raised his hand. The judge's brush hovered in front of him. The brush's bristles were not white, but had turned to brilliant red. The tip of the brush dipped into the inkstone, and was instantly dyed black. In the general's mansion in Yuzhou, Hu Changhyun walked over with intelligence. Sect Master, 7th Mr. has found out. The general defending Yuzhou city is one of the 8 great commanders. Mo Lai. Hearing this, Yuan Hai laughed heartily. The imperial family really has no other choice. This move of pulling the rug from under the pot that my white brother applied to the divine capital is a brilliant plan. Siwuya said, the imperial family has no other choice. If they don't send generals to defend the cities, they will die even faster. Hu Changhyun said again, currently 5 of the 8 great commanders are dead, Han Yuan, Shan Lei, Diu Yarim, Wen Shu, and Su Sheng. Dai Qingqing, who was supposed to replace Han Yuan, has long fled. Now, only 3 remain. Wan Yu, Duan Jundian, and Mo Lai. Fled. Siwuya frowned. Siwuya and Yu Zhenhei's thinking had always been different. He paid great attention to details that ordinary people didn't notice. Dai Qingqing is the only female general among the 8 great commanders. It said that her name was on the list of that mysterious expert, so she was so scared that she fled overnight. Her whereabouts are unknown. Yu Zhenhai and Siwuya recalled the scene that night when they controlled the flying chariot to attack Yuzhou. That mysterious expert only had a cultivation of the 5-leaf stage. How could he have scared Dai Qingqing? Yu Zhenhai asked. I don't know, subordinate. Wise brother, could this mysterious expert be a trap deliberately set by the imperial family? Impossible. This expert comes and goes without a trace. His performance is not like a 5-leaf. Perhaps he deliberately suppressed his avatar's level that night, Siwuya said. Yu Zhenhai frowned, suddenly remembering what Ming Xiyin had said. If Yu Shangrong came to Yuyo. If that was really him. But why would you help me? Second junior brother, we have been rivals all our lives. You helping me? No way. Just then, a disciple of the Nether sect rushed into the mansion and reporting to the sect master and the 7th Mr., it's not good, the formation of Yuzhou city has been opened, and the entire city is sealed. What's the reason? Siwuya asked. To arrest people. It's said that they are hunting that mysterious expert. Yu Zhenhai, Siwuya, and Hu Changhyun immediately looked at each other. He who plays with fire gets burned. That brother of mine has finally been tricked, Yu Zhenhai sighed. Siwuya asked, do you know where this expert is? Reporting to the 7th Mr., our spies in Yuzhou city have reported that the last they heard of that mysterious expert was on the street. But this expert is a master who is hard to track. Right now, I don't know his location. Siwuya nodded and then turned to Yu Zhenhai. First senior brother, should we save him? Yu Zhenhai sat up straight, his fingers tapping on the table. After a moment of thought, he replied, of course we must save him. I established the Nether sect and have the power I have today all thanks to the loyal sect members. If they see someone die, and don't save them, how can the brothers of the Nether sect serve me in the future? The sect master is wise, Hu Changhyun bowed. First senior brother's insight is profound, Siwuya also bowed. At the same time, in a tavern in Yuzhou city. From the inside out, it was surrounded by soldiers and cultivators. The streets below and the surrounding buildings were all guarded. There were no civilians on the streets. The entire city of Yuzhou was eerily quiet. In the sky, A huge barrier covered the entire city. Senior Sword Devil, you should just give up. The moment you stepped into Yuzhou, I noticed you. Now this entire place is a trap waiting for you. Looking at the green-robed swordsman sitting opposite him, Moking had to be extremely careful even when speaking. I can confirm that you have severed your golden lotus. After severing your golden lotus, your cultivation must have decreased significantly. You are no longer an leaf expert. You are very confident, but it is this confidence that has harmed you, Moking said. But the person opposite him was as calm as ever, holding a teacup, sipping tea while admiring the scenery outside the window. Moking felt that he was being looked down upon, and frowned. Aren't you afraid? The green-robed swordsman smiled and replied, why should I be afraid? Afraid that I'll kill you. If you can kill me, what's the use of being afraid? If you can't kill me, why should I be afraid? Yu Shangrong said gently. Moking was dizzy from Yu Shangrong's words. Senior Sword Devil, they've said so much, yet you still don't understand. He waved his hand. The cultivators in the tavern immediately drew their swords in unison. The people outside the tavern also closed in, completely surrounding Yu Shangrong, leaving almost no way to escape. Yu Shangrong said, if Mo-Li had come personally, it might have been a bit troublesome. It's a pity the person who came is you. Since they were young, Moking and his brother Mo-Li had begun to cultivate. Their ages were not much different, but Mo-Li's talent was a notch higher, and his cultivation was extremely strong. The world only knew of one of the 8 great commanders, Mo-Li, but no one paid attention to the existence of Moking. He had always lived under the protection of his brother. Gradually, Moking also wanted to prove himself. Now, surrounding the legendary Sword Devil Yu Shangrong was an excellent opportunity for him to make a name for himself in the cultivation world. I am enough, Moking said. I admire your courage, Yu Shangrong said indifferently. It's all for the Alliance Master. The Nether Sect's dominance is set. Moreover, they have the 9-leaf Senior G as their backer. It's only a matter of time before Yuzhou falls, Moking said. Since you know the outcome, why don't you run? Moking laughed heartily. Of course I will run. But I have to kill you first. Even if I don't get a reward from the imperial family, at least I can gain some fame. What does Yuzhou have to do with me? What does this country have to do with me? Of course I'll run. But I have to kill you first. Even if I don't get a reward from the imperial family, at least I can gain some fame. What does Yuzhou have to do with me? What does this country have to do with me? Just then, a subordinate ran up, cupped his hands and reported, General Mo, the Nether Sect has launched an all-out attack. Hearing this, Moking's eyes widened. At that moment, a swoosh of a sword came to his ear. The Sword Devil, Yu Shangrong, opposite him had drawn his sword from its sheath. General, General, the crowd cried out in alarm. Moking immediately summoned his avatar. A 6-leaf avatar blocked in front of him. The entire tavern was instantly blown apart by the avatar. Debris and miscellaneous objects filled the sky. The golden 6-leaf avatar collided with the long-outy sword's energy. Moking flew backward, leaving the tavern, and hovered in the sky. The surrounding crowd surged forward. Just as Moking thought the Sword Devil's one strike had failed, he suddenly felt his vision blur. His men rushed forward to block in front of him, but he couldn't see anything. He tried to stare ahead to force himself to stay awake. When his vision returned, Moking saw 3 figures approaching from the left, middle, and right, stepping through the air. In front of him, the green-robed swordsman smiled, holding the long-outy sword in his right hand. The blade emitted a faint red light. A 45-degree sword force. Bryn divine ability, return, come, enter the 3 souls, swish, Yu Shangrong calmly slashed down. A familiar, crisp sound rang out. A gap appeared in Moking's avatar. An extremely neat cut. This is... Fear appeared in Moking's eyes. He stared blankly as his avatar dissipated. At that moment, a corresponding slash appeared on his chest. Yu Shangrong remained as calm as ever, sheathing his sword. The longevity sword returned to its sheath as fast as lightning. Without looking, Yu Shangrong stepped through the air and flew up. At the same time, the cultivators who had just rushed into the tavern realized they had missed. They hurriedly turned to look at Moking, who was hovering in the air. General, kill him. Several dozen cultivators swarmed around Yu Shangrong like bees. Countless leaf-shaped energy seals shot out from around him, carried by a gust of wind toward the crowd. What is this? Swish, 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 golden leaves slashed across the necks of the cultivators. Their bodies fell to the ground, dead in an instant. Lotus leaves, they're the lotus leaves of the golden lotus. Be careful. The cultivators immediately gave up the chase. Moking hovered in the air, clutching the wound on his chest with one hand. He saw the countless lotus leaf-shaped energy seals behind Yu Shangrong slowly dissipate with the wind. Finally, only 6 pieces remained, merging into his body. Mo King's mouth opened with difficulty, and he trembled as he said, 6. The 6 leaf. Without a golden lotus. Lotus leaves can be used like that. Unfortunately, by the time he understood everything, it was too late. Mo King fell from the sky, his head lolling to one side. Fresh blood gushed from his chest, staining the ground like a small, winning stream. Ding. Killed 1 target. Reward, 1,500 merit points. Yu Shangrong did not hear the system's notification. He continued to use his grand divine ability to run toward the city gates. Killing Mo King was nothing to brag about. His brother, Mo Li, was the real difficult opponent. His whereabouts had been exposed. He had to leave Yushu City as soon as possible. The formation had been opened, and a barrier covered the entire city. Before Mo Li arrived, would he have time to leave? Yu Shangrong flew swiftly past the buildings until the city wall appeared before him. He looked up and saw a huge black flying chariot parked above the city wall. The Nether Sect. From outside the city wall came the shouts of the Nether Sect members attacking the city. The barrier outside the city gate was repeatedly struck, creating a deafening boom. Attacking the city at this time is incredibly stupid. Yu Shangrong made his assessment. In his opinion, the barrier was currently at its strongest. Choosing to attack now was a bit foolish. Yu Shangrong did not continue to fly but stopped by the city wall, waiting for the barrier to gradually weaken. Just then, a huge saber of energy flew out from the flying chariot. The Jasper saber, emitting a dazzling golden light, stabbed straight down at the barrier. Great dark heavenly palm. Dark heaven starlight, the saber of energy turned into a meat grinder, colliding with the barrier and creating a sound that echoed through the heavens and the earth. The barrier rippled, creating waves. The loud noise alarmed all the citizens in the city. Although a group of people had been evacuated, there were still many citizens left in the city. Yu Shangrong saw the citizens running toward the West City Gate. At that moment, many soldiers and cultivators flew up from the West City Gate. Stop. No one is allowed to run. Anyone living in the city, regardless of age or gender, whether they are mortals or cultivators, who dares to leave without permission will be killed on the spot. The citizens in the city were terrified and turned to run east. The cultivators defending the city continued to fly low in the sky, monitoring the fleeing citizens. Boom. Another loud bang. The dark heaven starlight of the Jasper saber emitted a dazzling light, like fireworks in broad daylight. The spinning energy shot out, continuously striking the barrier. A moment later, the saber of energy dissipated, and the barrier no longer rippled. On the flying chariot, Yu Hai stood proudly, observing the entire city. This barrier is even stronger than the one in Yushu. Yu Hai had used the great dark heavenly palm twice in a row, but it only made the barrier ripple, showing no signs of breaking. Siwuya said, "The loud noise we made will surely attract Malai. That mysterious expert who imitated second senior brother should have some means to escape. I just hope he's not a fool. Experts have always been confident. Since he dared to imitate second senior brother, he must be a confident person. I just hope he still has the strength to fight," Siwuya said. "Hearing you say that, I also feel that he is such a person." Yu Hai frowned. "So troublesome. Just like your second senior brother." Yu Hai flipped his palm and struck forward. The Jasper saber circled and flew out again. What was different this time was that Yu Hai spread his arms and stepped forward. Countless saber energies appeared around the Jasper saber. Monarch's descent. Each saber of energy was very similar to the Jasper saber. The saber energy sabbed down in unison. The defending troops who were running over suddenly stopped and looked up at the saber energies filling the sky, their hearts filled with awe. In this world, the only person who could execute such a move was the current master of the Nether Sect, Yu Hai. Great dark heavenly palm. Monarch's descent. If it was said that in the battle at Yuntao Woodland, Yu Hai still lacked a bit of a monarch's aura, now he had enough. In Yushu City, everyone who saw the scene stopped and looked up. The saber energies rained down on the barrier like a storm. Bang, 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 the barrier trembled, and the clashing energy ran rampant. The citizens in the city even thought the barrier had been broken. Monarch's descent was maintained for a period of time. Under its fierce attack, the barrier weakened by 30%. Some cultivators who had intended to help the defending troops immediately gave up on the idea. On what basis was the Nether Sect called the #1 demonic sect in the world? On what basis did the Nether Sect claim to conquer the 9 provinces of Great Yan? Now, everyone had the answer. Huang swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The sect master's saber techniques have reached the peak of perfection. He is a role model for all of us. Yuan Hai descended, withdrawing his hands. The Jasper saber returned to his side. He stood on the flying chariot and looked down at the barrier, which had weakened by 30%. First senior brother's one move, Monarch's descent, must have terrified Mo Li, Siwuya said. Yuan Hai was extremely satisfied with his move just now. It's just a barrier. I'll break it with a few more strikes. Whoosh, whoosh. Giant crossbow bolts shot from the city wall from a distance, like a rain shower. The sound of the crossbow bolts tearing through the air echoed through the sky. The defending troops had finally counterattacked. Huang hurriedly said, "Sect Master, leave such a small matter to me." "All right." Huang jumped down. His 7-leaf golden lotus avatar opened, expanded in an instant, and then contracted. All the crossbow bolts were sent flying. Yuan Hai nodded slightly and no longer paid attention to the crossbow bolts, but observed the defending troops standing on the wall. "I'll strike 3 more times. If Mo Li still doesn't appear, then when the barrier breaks, it will be the time I take the heads from your necks." The powerful sound wave rolled down, deafening. From the west of the city, a deep and majestic voice suddenly came. "Great Sect Master, you is truly majestic." Everyone turned to look at where the voice came from. The defending troops all bowed and saluted. "Welcome, Commander Mo." A middle-aged man stepped through the air, his hands behind his back, exuding a kingly aura. This was one of the 8 great commanders of the divine capital's imperial guards, Mo Li. This Commander Mo had a thin face. Although his figure was not large, his presence was extremely majestic. Yuan Hai said with disdain, "Mo Li, if you have the guts, come out and fight me." Seeing Mo Li appear, Yuan Hai and Siwuya were both relieved. This meant that the expert who had been hiding in the shadows to help the Nether sect was now safe. Mo Li said, "Sect Master, if you have the guts, break this barrier and come down and fight me." Both sides were in a stalemate. Just as Yuan Hai was about to speak, Siwuya pulled him back. "Mo Li has reinforcements. We need to discuss the attack on Yushu more carefully." "Reinforcements?" Yuan Hai asked in confusion. Siwuya replied, "Shuanjinjun and Wang Yu are defending the divine capital. These 2, along with the 10 elders of the North Dipper Academy, hold the 10 Absolutes formation in the divine capital and will not leave easily. Liu Shen has never left the 10 Absolutes formation and is unlikely to do so. The remaining 2 academy heads and the commander of the 3 armies, Wei Shuyan, are very likely to come to provide support." "Didn't you say Wei Shuyan is a fake? Does it matter if he's real or fake anymore? The main thing is that he can command the 3 armies. Even if he doesn't have the ability, he will be truly tempted," Siwuya said. "Impudent. If it weren't for Master's support, would he be where he is today? The human heart is hard to fathom." Siwuya shook his head and replied, "Fortunately, you reminded me. Yuan Hai had consumed a lot of primal kai. It would take some time to break the barrier. By then, he would no longer be at his peak." Yuan Hai stepped to the edge of the flying chariot and looked down from above, his voice booming. "Mo Li, for the sake of the common people in the city who haven't had time to evacuate, I will not break the barrier today." Without giving Mo Li a chance to retort, Yuan Hai continued to emit rolling sound waves. "Since the founding of the Nether sect, I have had an iron law, do not harm the common people. Now, you, the defending army, dare to take the common people as hostages. How hateful. Although I am of the demonic path, I have my principles. I will absolutely not do such a despicable thing as you." Yuan Hai raised his voice and continued, "I will announce this matter to the world and let the people see your true colors." The Nether sect's flying chariot led the retreat, slowly flying out of Yushu City. The Nether sect members outside the city wall also gave up their attack. In a moment, the sea of people had retreated. Mo Li stood there, dumbfounded, speechless. It was an unwritten rule that the affairs of the cultivation world should not involve mortals. It was easy to kill one person. It was not difficult to kill 100 or 1,000 people. But to kill a whole province, or even all the people of a country, was as difficult as ascending to heaven. That was why Mo Li was stunned. On the street, someone shouted, "The imperial family doesn't treat us as human beings. This is so unjust. Even a demonic sect like the Nether sect knows this principle, yet the defending general is taking us as hostages. What a sin. On what basis is your official life alive, while our lives are not? On what basis?" Once someone took the lead, the shouts grew louder and louder, like a tide. Mo Li's eyelids twitched. Although he had the strength to kill all these people, reason told him that he absolutely could not do so. "Commander, General Mo has been killed." Hearing this, Mo Li's eyes widened. his voice filled with grief and indignation. "Whoever dares to continue to make noise, I will immediately behead them." The rolling sound wave spread, and the discussion quickly fell silent. The old citizens looked at Mole in fear, not daring to speak. Some people even secretly thought, "Nether sect, quickly conquer the city." Mole's face remained unchanged. "Watch them. Anyone who leaves without permission will be killed without mercy." Yes. At the same time, in an alley not far away, Yu Shangron looked up at the huge flying chariot leaving above his head, then turned and slowly walked to another side. In the east pavilion, Liuji had finished comprehending the heavenly writing. As soon as he opened his eyes, he heard a voice from outside. "Master, there is a letter from 7th junior brother. Free." Liuji walked out and saw Ming Xiyin standing respectfully outside the door, presenting the letter. He casually waved his hand, and the letter flew into his hand. After reading the letter, Liuji said with disdain, acting as if I don't exist. Ming Xiyin had read the letter, and knew its contents. He said, "Master, with your cultivation, why don't you fly straight to the divine capital and kill Liu Shang? Then first senior brother wouldn't have to go to the trouble of conquering each province." Liuji was speechless. "I'd love to do that, but my strength doesn't allow it. The divine capital has the 10 absolutes formation guarding it. It's not as easy to break through as you think." Ming Xiyin raised a hand and slapped his forehead. "Master is right. I forgot. To break through the 10 absolutes formation, we still need the support of the Nether sect. For so many years, the imperial family had been able to stand tall and undefeated. Besides the many experts in the palace, another reason was the 10 absolutes formation. It could be said that half of the experts in Great Yan were gathered in the divine capital. This was not an exaggeration. If the North Dipper Academy and the Heavenly Sing Academy both make a move, I'm afraid first senior brother won't be able to conquer Yushu. Beside him, there's only Hua Changyun and 7th junior brother. The people of the North Dipper Academy are not to be trifled with. Not to mention, there's also Wei Zhuyan behind them." Ming Xiyin bowed and said, "Master, I request to go and provide support to first senior brother. Your first senior brother is stubborn. He will absolutely not allow others to interfere," Liuji said. Ming Xiyin nodded. "Then let old Huang go and support him. Island Master Huang has a good relationship with him. He should have rested well by now. Staying here all day is not doing anything." An old voice suddenly came from behind. "Brother Ji." Huang Shiji walked into the east pavilion as calmly as usual. This was so embarrassing. The ancients said that misfortune comes from the mouth, and it was true. But on the surface, Ming Xiyin remained as calm as ever. "Greetings, Island Master Huang. You're too polite." Liuji looked at Huang Shiji. "How have you been resting, Island Master Huang?" "Thank you for your generous hospitality, Brother Ji," Huang Shiji replied. "I heard that Sect Master Yu is attacking Yuzhou. If you don't mind, Brother Ji, may I go and take a look?" If Huang Shiji was willing to go, it couldn't be better. But with just him alone, his forces would be a bit thin. Conquering the 9 provinces might not require an 8-leaf, but now that the Nether sect was about to surround the divine capital, the imperial family could not continue to sit by and do nothing. Liuji pondered for a moment, and then said, "Perhaps there's no need. Please enlighten me, Brother Ji." "I believe in Yu Zhanghai's ability," Liuji said. "I am not questioning Sect Master Yu's ability. It's just..." Before Huang Shiji could finish, Liuji turned and left. "We'll discuss this in 2 days." 2 days later, Liuji felt that he had comprehended more than half of the extraordinary power. The fullness was equivalent to before he had unlocked the Earth Scroll. In these 5 months, Liuji had mainly comprehended the Earth Scroll, and his cultivation had not progressed. Fortunately, he still had over 100,000 merit points, which was equivalent to accumulating 2 parts of the Golden Lotus opening a li. This speed was not bad. Liuji stood up, stretched his muscles and bones, and then went to the table to look at the old goatskin map. Seeing that there were no new areas, Liuji left the room and went out to the courtyard to move his body. Just then, Ming Xiyin entered the East Pavilion, bowed, and reported, "Master, 7th junior brother has sent a letter. The North Dipper Academy and the Heavenly Sing Academy have set out." Liuji front. "On what basis does Liu Shannon dare to look down on me? To look down on Yuan Hai is to look down on the evil sky pavilion. Master, Liuji was able to take out a super heaven grade sword like Ling Shu. Perhaps that 9-leaf expert is still in the palace," Ming Xiyin casually guessed. Liuji's heart skipped a beat. "What did you say?" Ming Xiyin immediately knelt down and said, "Master is the number 19-leaf of our time. No matter what expert stands before you, they can only be killed by you with one palm. Liuji raised a hand to stop him, and said slowly, "Repeat what you just said." "Master is the number 19 leaf of our time." The sentence before that. Liuji frowned. He was usually so smart and witty. Why was he so slow now? Liuji was able to take out a super heaven-grade sword like Ling Shu. Perhaps that 9-leaf expert is still in the palace. These words indeed reminded Lu Jiao. This possibility could not be ruled out. The armor, the classic, the coffin, the Ling Shu sword, the treasure box containing the red talismans, all of these came from the palace. Liuji had said that the 9-leaf expert had been to the divine capital. Besides, Lu Jiao had forgotten one fact. It had been so long since the era of severing the golden lotus began. Who could guarantee that no one had rebuilt their cultivation to the 8-leaf, or even the 9-leaf stage? It was like when a new game was in open beta. No matter how much Lu Jiao grinded, there were always a few bastards who reached max level in just a few days. Since the era of severing the golden lotus began, this possibility had become increasingly large. "Inform Huang Shiji. Tell him to come with me on a trip," Lu Jiao said. Hearing this, Ming Xiyin was surprised. "Master, are you going to help first seeing your brother attack Yuzo?" Lu Jiao waved his hand. "I'm just passing by. Disciple understands." Ming Xiyin hurriedly turned and left. How could Lu Jiao allow the two great academies or other forces to backstab his disciple? That afternoon, when the sun was high in the sky, the cloud-treading chariot slowly left the barrier of Golden Court Mountain and flew toward Yushu City. This time, Lu Jiao only brought Ming Xiyin and Huang Shiji, plus the 3 prisoners of the Taichu Academy. At present, everyone was cultivating at a rapid pace. It was safer to stay at the Evil Sky Pavilion. Besides, these people wouldn't be of much help even if they went. On the flying chariot, Lu Jiao stood with his hands behind his back, observing the 3 prisoners kneeling on the ground. Xu Wenlian, Wan Jianrang, and Zhang Gong were trembling, not daring to move. During this time, they had been imprisoned in the Evil Sky Pavilion, often in fear, unable to eat or sleep well. Every day, some demon would come to play and tease them, making them very uncomfortable. Ming Xiyin, who was steering the flying chariot, turned his head and asked strangely, "Master, why did you bring these 3 pieces of trash?" Before Lu Jiao could speak, Huang Shiji laughed and replied, "The Taichu Academy has always had a close relationship with the imperial family and is also on good terms with the 2 great academies." Lu Jiao looked at the 3 indifferently and asked calmly, "Do you want to live?" Xu Wenlian hurriedly bowed and replied, yes, only a fool wouldn't want to live." "Then I will give you a chance." Lu Jiao paused for a moment, and then continued, "The 2 great academies are on their way to Yushu. I'd want to meet the 2 academy heads. If you do this well, I will spare you the death penalty." Xu Wenliang immediately agreed. "Please rest assured, Pavilion Master. This junior will definitely do a good job." This junior will immediately send a letter to them. Half a day later, the cloud-treading chariot appeared on a mountain a few miles west of Yushu. The flying chariot landed. Lu Jiao sat on the flying chariot and observed Yushu City, but he could only see a rough outline, not clearly. Xu Wenliang said in a low voice, "Senior Ji, I have contacted the North Dipper Academy." "Good." Lu Jiao did not look at him. Huang Shiji said, "With Sect Master Yu's personality, he probably arrived in Yuzhou long ago. Yuzhou is still very quiet. It seems he is a little wary. With the threat of the 2 great academies, and the ease with which Wei Zhuyan could launch a sneak attack, how could Yu Zhengai not be cautious? He's not a fool." A moment later, a group of cultivators in white robes flew over from a distance at an extremely fast speed. Their presence was overwhelming, forming a square formation of about 1,000 people. "Master, they're here." Ming Xiyin jumped off the flying chariot and stood on the mountain top, his expression unusually excited. "Master, quickly summon your 9-leaf avatar and kill them all. First senior brother won't be in trouble anymore." Lu Jiao frowned. "Don't talk nonsense. Am I the kind of person who creates massacres?" Disciple misspoke. "Please forgive me, Master," Ming Xiyin hurriedly said. "Master is a man of virtue who distinguishes between right and wrong." Huang Shiji also cupped his hands and said, "I dare not say anything else, but it is true that Brother Ji has the world in his heart. The people Brother Ji kills all deserve to die. If Brother Ji is a demon, then my Penglai Island is willing to follow the Evil Sky Pavilion and step into the demonic path." As soon as these words were spoken, the 3 of Juwenlian trembled and staggered. Even Penglai Island supported the Evil Sky Pavilion. One could see how great the charm of the Evil Sky Pavilion was. Now that the Evil Sky Pavilion was like the sun at noon, it was not surprising that it had a large number of fans. At this moment, The 1,000 less cultivators in white robes had approached. The formation gradually descended, hovering in the air. Xu Wenliang said in a low voice, "Senior Ji, I'll go and greet them." "Go." Lu De waved his sleeve. He was not afraid of Xu Wenliang rebelling. He had 100,000 ways to kill Xu Wenliang. If Xu Wenliang was smart, he would definitely not dare to do such a brainless thing. Xu Wenliang lightly tapped his toes, and flew into the air. Xu Wenliang of the Tai Chu Academy pays his respects to everyone. The sound traveled. The 1,000 blessed disciples of the North Dipper Academy all flew over, their formation extremely neat. The person leading the way was the head of the North Dipper Academy, Xu Yushan. Xu Wenliang, you are indeed here. Patriarch Jian Chen of the Taichu Academy has always been on good terms with the North Dipper Academy. Now that the first disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Yu Zhengai, is stirring up trouble, we should unite with the Divine Capital to attack the Evil Sky Pavilion, Xu Yushan said. At this, Xu Wenliang was on the verge of tears. Don't even talk about uniting. The Taichu Academy no longer had a sect master, no patriarch, no barrier. The core disciples had also fled. What did the Taichu Academy have to attack the Evil Sky Pavilion? Even though he was the second elder, he felt helpless. Xu Wenliang shook his head and didn't beat around the bush. Senior, look here. Xu Yushan looked in the direction Xu Wenliang was pointing. On the mountain, half of the cloud-treading chariot was visible. On the mountain, a person was standing on a large rock, waving at Xu Yushan. Hello, Academy Head Xu. We meet again. Xu Yushan frowned. Who are you? The fourth Mister of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Meng Xian, Xu Wenliang introduced. Xu Yushan's eyes immediately widened. So it's the fourth demon of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Mend, arrest him. We must capture him alive. With him, we can negotiate with Yu Zhenkai. Xu Wenliang, you did well. Although the Taichu Academy is not what it used to be, as long as I am here, no one will dare to bully your Taichu Academy. Xu Wenliang, so you chose death. With a brain like that, how did you become an academy head? Xu Wenliang was on the verge of tears. He hurriedly flew to Academy Head Xu side and whispered, Academy. Academy Head, Senior. Senior G is also here. The last half of the sentence was as soft as a mosquito's buzz, almost inaudible. Xu Yushan's eyes rolled back, and his whole body jumped. The Divine Capital's backing was the 10 Absolutes formation, the Imperial family. In a place far from the Divine Capital, it was fine to fight with the Nether sect, but he was absolutely not qualified to fight with old Demon G. At this moment, a deep voice came. Academy Head Xu, why don't you come and meet me? Of course I'll run. But I have to kill you first. Even if I don't get a reward from the Imperial family, at least I can gain some fame. What does Yushu have to do with me? What does this country have to do with me? Just then, a subordinate ran up, cupped his hands and reported, General Mo, the Nether sect has launched an all-out attack. Hearing this, Mo King's eyes widened. At that moment, a swoosh of a sword came to his ear. The sword devil, Yu Shangrong, opposite him had drawn his sword from its sheath. General, the crowd cried out in alarm. Mo King immediately summoned his avatar. A 6-leaf avatar blocked in front of him. The entire tavern was instantly blown apart by the avatar. Debris and miscellaneous objects filled the sky. The golden 6-leaf avatar collided with the longevity sword's energy. Mo King flew backward, leaving the tavern, and hovered in the sky. The surrounding crowd surged forward. Just as Mo King thought the sword devil's one strike had failed, he suddenly felt his vision blur. His men rushed forward to block in front of him, but he couldn't see anything. He tried to stare ahead to force himself to stay away. When his vision returned, Mo King saw 3 figures approaching from the left, middle and right, stepping through the air. In front of him, the green-robed swordsman smiled, holding the longevity sword in his right hand. The blade emitted a faint red light. A 45-degree sword force. Grand divine ability. Return, come, enter the 3 souls. Swish. Yu Shangrong calmly slashed down. A familiar, crisp sound rang out. A gap appeared in Mo King's avatar, an extremely neat cut. This is... Fear appeared in Mo King's eyes. He stared blankly as his avatar dissipated. At that moment, a corresponding slash appeared on his chest. Yu Shangrong remained as calm as ever, sheathing his sword. The longevity sword returned to its sheath as fast as lightning. Without looking, Yu Shangrong stepped through the air and flew up. At the same time, the cultivators who had just rushed into the tavern realized they had missed. They hurriedly turned to look at Mo King, who was hovering in the air. General, Kill him. Several dozen cultivators swarmed around Yu Shangrong like bees. Countless leaf-shaped energy seals shot out from around him, carried by a gust of wind toward the crowd. What is this? Swish, swish, swish. Golden leaves slashed across the necks of the cultivators. Their bodies fell to the ground, dead in an instant. Lotus leaves, they're the lotus leaves of the golden lotus. Be careful. The cultivators immediately gave up the chase. Mo King hovered in the air, clutching the wound on his chest with one hand. He saw the countless lotus leaf-shaped energy seals behind Yu Shangrong slowly dissipate with the wind. Finally, only 6 pieces remained, merging into his body. Mo King's mouth opened with difficulty, and he trembled as he said, 6. Those 6 leaf. Without a golden lotus. Lotus leaves can be used like that. Unfortunately, by the time he understood everything, it was too late. Mo King fell from the sky, his head lolling to one side. Fresh blood gushed from his chest, staining the ground like a small, winding stream. Ding. Killed 1 target. Reward, 1500 merit points. Yu Shangrong did not hear the system's notification. He continued to use his grand divine ability to run toward the city gate. Killing Mo King was nothing to brag about. His brother, Mo Li, was the real difficult opponent. His whereabouts had been exposed. He had to leave Yuzhu City as soon as possible. The formation had been opened, and a barrier covered the entire city. Before Mo Li arrived, we have time to leave. Yu Shangrong flew swiftly past the buildings until the city wall appeared before him. He looked up and saw a huge black flying chariot parked above the city wall. The Nether Sect. From outside the city wall came the shouts of the Nether Sect members attacking the city. The barrier outside the city gate was repeatedly struck, creating a deafening boom. Attacking the city at this time is incredibly stupid. Yu Shangrong made his assessment. In his opinion, the barrier was currently at its strongest. Choosing to attack now was a bit foolish. Yu Shangrong did not continue to fly but stopped by the city wall, waiting for the barrier to gradually weaken. Just then, a huge saber of energy flew out from the flying chariot. The Jasper saber, emitting a dazzling golden light, stabbed straight down at the barrier. Great dark heavenly palm. Dark heaven starlight. The saber of energy turned into a meat grinder, colliding with the barrier and creating a sound that echoed through the heavens and the earth. The barrier rippled, creating waves. The loud noise alarmed all the citizens in the city. Although a group of people had been evacuated, there were still many citizens left in the city. Yu Shangrong saw the citizens running toward the West City Gate. At that moment, many soldiers and cultivators flew up from the West City Gate. Stop. No one is allowed to run. Anyone living in the city, regardless of age or gender, whether they are mortals or cultivators, who dares to leave without permission will be killed on the spot. The citizens in the city were terrified and turned to run east. The cultivators defending the city continued to fly low in the sky, monitoring the fleeing citizens. Boom. Another loud bang. The dark heaven starlight of the Jasper saber emitted a dazzling light, like fireworks in broad daylight. The spinning energy shot out, continuously striking the barrier. A moment later, the saber of energy dissipated, and the barrier no longer rippled. On the flying chariot, Yuan Hai stood proudly, observing the entire city. This barrier is even stronger than the one in Yuzhou. Yuan Hai had used the great dark heavenly palm twice in a row, but it only made the barrier ripple, showing no signs of breaking. Ziwei said, "The loud noise we made will surely attract Mo Li. That mysterious expert who imitated second senior brother should have some means to escape. I just hope he's not a fool." Experts have always been confident. Since he dared to imitate second senior brother, he must be a confident person. I just hope he still has the strength to fight, Ziwei said. Hearing you say that, I also feel that he is such a person. Yuan Hai frowned. So troublesome. Just like your second senior brother. Yuan Hai flipped his palm and struck forward. The Jasper saber circled and flew out again. What was different this time was that Yuan Hai spread his arms and stepped forward. Countless saber energies appeared around the Jasper saber. Monarch's descent. Each saber of energy was very similar to the Jasper saber. The saber energy stabbed down in unison. The defending troops who were running over suddenly stopped, and looked up at the saber energies filling the sky, their hearts filled with awe. In this world, the only person who could execute such a move was the current master of the Nether Sect, Yuan Hai. Great dark heavenly palm. Monarch's descent. If it was said that in the battle at Yunzhou Woodland, Yuan Hai still lacked a bit of a monarch's aura, now he had enough. In Yuzhou City, everyone who saw this scene stopped and looked up. The saber energies rained down on the barrier like a storm. Bang, bang, bang. The barrier trembled, and the clashing energy ran rampant. The citizens in the city even thought the barrier had been broken. Monarch's descent was maintained for a period of time. Under its fierce attack, the barrier weakened by 30%. Some cultivators who had intended to help the defending troops immediately gave up on the idea. On what basis was the Nether sect called the #1 demonic sect in the world? On what basis did the Nether sect claim to conquer the 9 provinces of Great Yan? Now, everyone had the answer. Hua Chongyang swallowed a mouthful of salava. The sect master's saber techniques have reached the peak of perfection. He is a role model for all of us. Yuan Hai descended, withdrawing his hands. The Jasper saber returned to his side. He stood on the flying chariot, and looked down at the barrier, which had weakened by 30%. First senior brother's one move, Monarch's descent, must have terrified Mo Li, Siwei said. Yuan Hai was extremely satisfied with his move just now. It's just a barrier. I'll break it with a few more strikes. Whoosh, whoosh. Giant crossbow bolts shot from the city wall from a distance, like a rain shower. The sound of the crossbow bolts tearing through the air echoed through the sky. The defending troops had finally counterattacked. Hua Chongyang hurriedly said, "Sect Master, leave such a small matter to me." "All right." Hua Chongyang jumped down. His 7-leaf golden lotus avatar opened, expanded in an instant, and then contracted. All the crossbow bolts were sent flying. Yuan Hai nodded slightly, and no longer paid attention to the crossbow bolts, but observed the defending troops standing on the wall. "I'll strike 3 more times. If Mo Li still doesn't appear, then when the barrier breaks, it will be the time I take the heads from your necks." The powerful sound wave rolled down, deafening. From the west of the city, a deep and majestic voice suddenly came. "Great Sect Master, you is truly majestic." Everyone turned to look at where the voice came from. The defending troops all bowed and saluted. "Welcome, Commander Mo." A middle-aged man stepped through the air, his hands behind his back, exuding a kingly aura. This was one of the great commanders of the divine capital's imperial guards, Mo Li. This Commander Mo had a thin face. Although his figure was not large, his presence was extremely majestic. Yuan Hai said with disdain, "Mo Li, if you have the guts, come out and fight me." Seeing Mo Li appear, Yuan Hai and Siwei were both relieved. This meant that the expert who had been hiding in the shadows to help the Nether sect was now safe. Mo Li said, "Sect Master, if you have the guts, break this barrier and come down and fight me." Both sides were in a stalemate. Just as Yuan Hai was about to speak, Siwei pulled him back. "Mo Li has reinforcements. We need to discuss the attack on Yushu more carefully." "Reinforcements?" Yuan Hai asked in confusion. Siwei replied, "Xuan Jingjun and Wan Yu are defending the divine capital. These two, along with the 10 elders of the North Dipper Academy, hold the 10 absolutes formation in the divine capital, and will not leave easily. Li Shan has never left the 10 absolutes formation, and is unlikely to do so. The remaining 2 academy heads and the commander of the 3 armies, Wei Xuan, are very likely to come to provide support." "Didn't you say Wei Xuan is a fake?" "Does it matter if he's real or fake anymore? The main thing is that he can command the 3 armies. Even if he doesn't have the ability, he will be truly tempted," Siwei said. "Impudent. If it weren't for Master's support, would he be where he is today?" "The human heart is hard to fathom," Siwei shook his head and replied. "Fortunately, you reminded me. Yuan Hai had consumed a lot of primal Kai. It would take some time to break the barrier. By then, he would no longer be at his peak." Yuan Hai stepped to the edge of the flying chariot, and looked down from above, his voice booming. "Mo Li, for the sake of the common people in the city who haven't had time to evacuate, I will not break the barrier today." Without giving Mo Li a chance to retort, Yuan Hai continued to emit rolling sound waves. "Since the founding of the Nether sect, I have had an iron law: do not harm the common people. Now, you of the defending army, dare to take the common people as hostages. How hateful. Although I am of the demonic path, I have my principles. I will absolutely not do such a despicable thing as you." Yuan Hai raised his voice and continued, "I will announce this matter to the world and let the people see your true colors." The Nether sect's flying chariot led the retreat, slowly flying out of Yushu city. The Nether sect members outside the city wall also gave up their attack. In a moment, the sea of people had retreated. Mo Li stood there, dumbfounded, speechless. It was an unwritten rule that the affairs of the cultivation world should not involve mortals. It was easy to kill one person. It was not difficult to kill 100 or 1,000 people. But to kill a whole province, or even all the people of a country, was as difficult as ascending to heaven. That was why Mo Li was stunned. On the street, someone shouted, "The imperial family doesn't treat us as human beings. This is so unjust." Even a demonic sect like the Nether sect knows this principle. Yet the defending general is taking us as hostages. What a sin. On what basis is your official life a life, while our lives are not? On what basis? Once someone took the lead, the shouts grew louder and louder, like a tide. Moli's eyelids twitched. Although he had the strength to kill all these people, reason told him that he absolutely could not do so. Commander, General Mo had been killed. Hearing this, Moli's eyes widened, his voice filled with grief and indignation. Whoever dares to continue to make noise, I will immediately behead them. The rolling sound wave spread, and the discussion quickly fell silent. The old citizens looked at Moli in fear, not daring to speak. Some people even secretly thought Nether sect quickly conquer this city. Moli's face remained unchanged. Watch them. Anyone who leaves without permission will be killed without mercy. Yes. At the same time, in an alley not far away, Yu Shangron looked up at the huge flying chariot leaving above his head, then turned and slowly walked to another side. In the general's mansion in Yuja City, Moli led 4 vice-generals out. Commander Mo, the situation is not optimistic. Should we release those commoners? Let them go. The demonic path is, after all, the demonic path. As long as we sacrifice these commoners, we can justifiably rally the cultivators of the world. Moli said, do it cleanly. Yes, a vice-general quickly left the general's mansion. Moli gave his orders. You, go to the South City Gate to receive the Crown Prince. Yes, Commander. You, go to the East Gate to receive Wei Shuyan. Yes, Commander. And you, go and receive the North Dipper Academy and the Heavenly Sing Academy. Hurry up. The Nether sect has entered the city. We must wipe them out in one fell swoop. Yes, Commander. The 3 vice-generals received their orders and immediately left the general's mansion. Moli clasped his hands and walked into the courtyard, looking down at the corpse placed in the middle of the courtyard. A cold light flashed in his eyes. I will make all of you from the Nether sect be buried with my brother. As soon as he finished speaking, a swordsman in a green robe suddenly appeared on the courtyard wall, standing with his arms crossed, observing Moli. The swordsman had a calm smile on his face. Moli was startled and stared at the person on the wall. When had this person gotten there? Why hadn't he noticed? Moli forced himself to appear calm. Who are you? I apologize for accidentally killing your brother, Mo King. He was not on my kill list. I was also very helpless, the green-robed swordsman said gently. It was you, the past is in the past. Please grieve less. Yu Shangron bowed his head slightly, showing respect for the deceased. But these words were like a slap in the face to Moli. He was enraged. He raised his hands and sent out countless palm seals. Bang, bang, bang. Yu Shangron lightly tapped his toes, his body spinning in the air as he shot down. Moli stomped on the ground and shot up, his whole body erupting with energy. Boom, the courtyard wall of the general's mansion collapsed. The 2 simultaneously flew toward the small lake nearby. Palm seals filled the sky. Yu Shangron let out a soft cry. His longsword emitted a red light and circled out. Moli's palm turned into a shimmering golden light. The 2 sides landed on the roof of the pavilion by the lake. One sword slashed out, and sword energies flew everywhere. The entire pavilion was sliced apart. Moli's fighting style was extremely fierce and aggressive. Each punch contained immense power. Is this all the sword devil has? Moli roared. He brought his hands together and dozens of palm seals appeared around him. Yu Shangron's expression remained unchanged. His long sword danced, and sword images appeared. The sword light sliced each palm seal in 2. Why were heaven-grade weapons so terrifying? It was because they could break through protective energy, slicing through fist energies and palm seals like cutting tofu. In another part of Yuja City, on the Nether sect's giant chariot, Yuan Hai had continuously used Ma Arch's descent, and more than half of his primal Kai was depleted. He withdrew his hand. The Jasper Saber circled and returned to his hand. First, senior brother, conserve your strength. Leave the rest to me and Changjiang. Siwea stood up and said. Just as Siwea was about to use his Kongzi Kaiping, Yuan Hai raised a hand to stop him. Wise brother, you stay on the flying chariot and strategize. If anything happens to you, I will be very worried. Hua Changyan, who had just sent a wave of giant crossbow bolts flying, said, there's no need for the 7th Mister to make a move. The brothers of the Nether sect are enough. Look over there. The second seat of the Azure Dragon Hall, Wuhan, led a team of men and flew toward another city gate. His 6-leaf golden lotus avatar appeared. Wherever he flew, cultivators were killed. Siwea nodded slightly. First senior brother, with the Nether sect, conquering the divine capital is only a matter of time. Yuan Hai was overjoyed, his heart blooming with joy. He smiled and said, "But I can't be too arrogant." Master gave a rather tight deadline. "First senior brother, rest assured. The time is enough. Right now, we need to be wary of the two great academies and Wei Shuyan," Siwaya said. "It's a pity that Bai Yiqing, Yan Yan and Di King are not here." Just then, Huachandiang suddenly saw many commoners on the street. Their faces were tense and fearful. Many of them were injured, their faces bruised, and they were running toward the nether sect members. "Sect master, look," Yu Jinhai and Siwaya also saw this scene. "What's going on?" Huachanhyang frowned. A great person does not bother with trifles. At this time, a cold and ruthless approach would be the most appropriate. But could he really do it? If they were allowed to enter the nether sect's area, it would affect the battle, or perhaps spies were mixed in. Yu Jinhai clenched his fists, his eyes burning with anger. "Mo Li, I will definitely kill you with my own hands." Huachanjun knelt on one knee and said, "Word by word, please give the order, sect master. I will obey all your commands unconditionally." Siwaya's heart skipped a beat as he looked at Huachanjing. Yu Jinhai did not answer but silently looked at the commoners on the street. Behind them, there were many defending soldiers. A child was crying loudly. His mother was so scared that she quickly covered his mouth. Everyone was very tense. No one had time to pity anyone else. Huachanhyang's face was expressionless as he awaited the sect master's order. His fist was clenched on the ground. "Retreat." Yu Jinhai raised his hand. Hearing this, Siwaya secretly let out a sigh of relief. Huachanhyang said in a deep voice, "Subordinate obeys." After speaking, he leaped up and hovered in front of the flying chariot, his voice booming. "Retreat to the city wall." The nether sect members looked up at the flying chariot in confusion. They were winning. Why did they have to retreat? The commoners let out a sigh of relief, watching the nether sect members gradually retreat toward the city wall. They then sat on the ground, panting, as if they had just escaped a disaster. At this moment, a few miles west of the nether sect's flying chariot, an 100-foot-tall avatar suddenly appeared, shimmering with golden light. As the avatar erupted with energy, a swordsman with a calm and composed expression also appeared. He held his sword horizontally, and quickly flew backward. Yu Shangrong looked up at Mo Li, suppressed the churning blood in his chest, and smiled faintly. "If I were still an leaf, you would have long been a ghost under my sword. It's just that winning against a stronger opponent is more interesting." Mo Li looked at Yu Shangrong below him seriously. "You are indeed the sword devil, Yu Shangrong." He hadn't expected that with his leaf cultivation, he still couldn't force Yu Shangrong to summon his avatar. On the giant chariot, Yu Jinhai also saw this 100-foot-tall avatar and immediately snorted. "Wise brother, I'll leave this place under your full command. I want to personally take Mo Li's head." Without waiting for Siwaya's reply, Yu Jinhai leaped off the giant chariot. Siwaya's sharp eyes looked at the avatar and saw a figure in a green robe descending within the shimmering golden light. The mysterious expert. Second senior brother. In Yu Jinhai's eyes, there was only Mo Li. The 100-foot-tall avatar, with its characteristic fist energy, had sold him out. Yu Jinhai flew toward him at top speed. The jasper saber was pressed against his body, emitting a humming sound. The thought of Mo Li's act of using the old citizens made Yu Jinhai want to go mad with anger. His primal ki roiled, affecting the jasper saber. His entire body exuded a terrifying murderous aura. At this moment, Yu Shangrong also realized that Mo Li's avatar had exposed his position. Mo Li didn't notice Yu Jinhai flying toward him at top speed, but only looked at the sword devil, Yu Shangrong, who had killed his brother. At this moment, Mo Li wanted to kill Yu Shangrong more than anyone else. He withdrew his avatar, his body turning 180 degrees. He clenched his right fist and unleashed a fist of energy as fast as a meteor. "Sword devil, accept your death." Mo Li's eyes were red, filled with murderous intent. At his level of body tempering, he could become the lord of a region. Yu Shangrong looked up at the fist of energy Mo Li was sending his way. He gripped the Longdevei sword. His avatar appeared. What was admirable was that Yu Shangrong's avatar did not maintain a single posture like others, but could change. The two hands of the avatar were clasped together, the 10 fingers clasped. Mo Li was shocked. He had never seen such a strange avatar. But a move that had already been launched could not be stopped halfway. Mo Li held his breath and focused his attention, striking out with his fist of energy. 6-leaf avatar. You're dead for sure. Anyone would think that an 8-leaf avatar, with just one world-destroying punch, would be enough to shatter Yu Shangrong's 6-leaf avatar. Even Mo Li believed so. The cultivators around all saw this shocking scene. The fist of energy collided. Boom. What was beyond everyone's imagination was that Yu Shangrong's avatar suddenly extended its hands and grabbed Mo Li's shoulders. All of Mo Li's fist energy struck the right arm of the avatar. Yu Shangrong frowned, feeling that his right arm was in danger. He waved his hand. Boom. The aftershock of the fist of energy struck the avatar, creating a ripple. Yu Shangrong frowned, feeling that his right arm was in danger. He waved his hand. Boom. The aftershock of the fist of energy struck the avatar, creating a ripple. Yu Shangrong stumped his foot and his entire body shot up into the sky. The longevity sword once again emitted a brilliant red light. Lotus leaves spun around the longevity sword. 3 figures appeared. This was Yu Shangrong's signature sword technique. Return, come, enter the 3 souls. Ha. Mo Li threw his head back and laughed maniacally. You've fallen for my trick. A golden light suddenly shimmered on Mo Li's body, like a flame burning. Great success, astral body. Great success, astral body was the ultimate state of body tempering, where all primal kai was attached to the meridians and skin, and even the avatar was compressed to the size of a real person. The 3 were united as one, which was the astral body. For a body temper in this world to cultivate an astral body was extremely rare. Once the astral body was cultivated and the avatar was opened, it was no different from having the Buddha's golden body. The defensive power was extremely terrifying. Mo Li did not retreat but advanced. Even though his vision was blurry, he still chose to advance, fiercely throwing a punch forward. How could a sword that had been unsheathed be withdrawn? Yu Shangrong continued to swing his sword, his eyes resolute. Boom! The 3 figures merged into one. Yu Shangrong spun in the air and, in an instant, descended, his right hand holding the sword and stabbing straight down. Mo Li was sent flying backward, crashing through 3 buildings before hitting the ground. A cloud of dust billowed, obscuring the view. Everything fell silent again. A battle of this level caused immense damage. The nearby cultivators only dared to watch and not get close. Yu Shangrong looked at the fallen Mo Li with suspicion. It wasn't until the dust settled that Yu Shangrong saw a huge sapper of energy stuck in the ground, reflecting the sunlight. Yu Shangrong's heart skipped a beat. I still couldn't escape. No wonder Mo Li was defeated so easily. He had finally arrived. First senior brother. Yu Shangrong looked up at the person hovering opposite him. Yu Hai stood tall, his hands behind his back, his sharp eyes staring at Yu Shangrong. That's right. He wasn't looking at Mo Li, who was lying on the ground, but at Yu Shangrong opposite him. It really is you, Yu Hai said in a low voice. Yu Shangrong smiled and stood up straight. It is. Why did you help me? Yu Hai asked. I'm not helping you. I am helping myself. Helping yourself. That's right, Yu Shangrong replied softly. Second junior brother, as the first senior brother, I tolerate you, understand you, and have even given in to you many times. The past is like smoke. I will not hold it against you. But Yu Hai's tone suddenly changed, becoming serious and grave. The great cause is before us. It involves the lives of hundreds of thousands of brothers in the Nether sect. I cannot ignore it. I will kill Mo Li for you. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly. You are the first senior brother. I respect you and even avoided you many times so as not to be seen as disrespectful. The great cause is of course important, but killing Mo Li will not affect your great cause. He is on my kill list. His head must be taken by me. I am him. Mo Li, enduring the intense pain, slapped the ground with one palm and stood up. The dignified great commander had been reduced to a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, a fish on the chopping block, while they argued over who would behead him. How could Mo Li not be angry? Enough, Mo Li roared. Yu Shangrong, you only have a 6-leaf avatar. On what basis do you claim to be able to kill me? 6-leaf avatar. Yu Hai's eyelids twitched. A sense of unwillingness suddenly rose in his heart. He could have rebuilt his cultivation as well. Unfortunately, the great cause was upon him. Mo Li looked up at Yu Hai. Yu Hai, my reinforcements are about to arrive. You are now a fish in a barrel. What right do you have to shout at me? Yu Hai didn't look at Mo Li but continued to speak to Yu Shangrong. Second junior brother, you are only at the 6-leaf stage. I'm afraid you can't kill Mo Li. You don't need to interfere in the affairs of the divine capital. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly. First senior brother, forgive me, but I cannot agree. The longevity sword vibrated, and the blade emitted a red light. Swoosh, the longevity sword flew to him. Yu Shangrong brought his hands together. The primal kai around him surged, and a strong wind rose. The surrounding buildings were all blown away. Immediately after, the longevity sword shot out countless sword energies, densely spread across the sky, forming the shape of a fan. Yuan Hai was slightly surprised and exclaimed, "All things return to origin. The fundamental of all things is the Tao." This invincible move was one of the most difficult grand divine abilities of the Return to Origin's sword art to master, no weaker than Return. Come, enter the three souls. Seeing this, Yuan Hai's palm flipped slightly. The Jasper saber flew back, and then was thrown out again. Monarch's descent, if he didn't make a move, that was one thing. But when he did, it was his strongest move. If you had to face these two, what would you choose? Would you choose the PK, Leaf Yuan Hai or Yu Shangrong, who at first glance only had a 6-leaf avatar? Mo Li, enduring his internal injuries, once again used his astral body. His entire body was surrounded by energy. He stomped on the ground, and charged toward Yu Shangrong. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly, his two hands pushing forward. All things returned to origin. All the sword energies and the longevity sword merged into one and struck toward Mo Li. Mo Li said calmly, "Even if I die, I will drag you, the sword devil, down with me." His eyes were filled with resolution and confidence, forcing Yu Shangrong to go all out. Bang, bang, bang. Sword energies pierced Mo Li's body. At the same time, Monarch's descent also sent out countless saber energies. Yuan Hai spread his arms like a great eagle spreading its wings. The saber energies in front of him were neat and surged like a tide toward Mo Li. Bang, bang, bang. Several bloody gashes appeared on Mo Li's fists and feet. It could be said that Mo Li was facing a situation of certain death. He was attacked on two sides, with all things returned to origin on one side and Monarch's descent on the other. However, Yuan Hai suddenly withdrew his hands. His two hands came together, and Monarch's descent stopped in mid-air. The Jasper saber flew back into his hand. Yuan Hai swung his saber horizontally. A saber of energy several feet long, shimmering with golden light, slashed at Mo Li, simultaneously pushing him out of the attack range of all things returned to origin. Yu Shangrong leaped back in the air, his movements elegant to the extreme. But where the tip of his foot touched the ground, a crack appeared. Mo Li was sent flying, spitting out a mouthful of blood and rolling on the ground. The saber and sword energies that filled the sky disappeared in an instant. Yuan Hai still looked at Yu Shangrong and didn't even glance at the heavily injured Mo Li. "Do you know that one punch just now could have taken your life?" Yuan Hai questioned. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly. "First senior brother, you were afraid that my all things return to origin would kill him first, right? If I hadn't done that, you would have been injured." "Not necessarily. Arrogance is not a good thing. You have severed your golden lotus and rebuilt your cultivation. Why do you need to compete with an leaf?" Yuan Hai said. "When she was killed by me. The 4 vice generals of Gai King were killed by me. The trials 1 Li was killed by me. Mo King, who was defending the south of Yushu City, was also killed by me," Yu Shangrong said. Hearing this, Yuan Hai frowned, and then his brows relaxed. He said with disdain, "Is this the reason for your arrogance? The person you faced just now was one of the 8 great commanders, Mo Li, who was defending Yushu City." "Yes," Yu Shangrong replied. The two were engaged in a verbal battle. While Mo Li was furious, he brushed the dust off his body and stood up with difficulty. There was a saber wound on his waist and a sword wound on his chest. One saber and one sword had left deep wounds on his body. Fresh blood continued to flow. If it weren't for Mo Li's great success astral body, Yuan Hai and Yu Shangrong wouldn't have needed to use their ultimate moves to take his life. Even so, the great success astral body was having a hard time withstanding Monarch's descent and all things returned to origin. Yuan Hai's sudden change of move had just saved his life. "First senior brother, it's meaningless for us to argue about this. Why don't we respect our opponent and let him choose for himself?" Yu Shangrong looked at Mo Li. Yuan Hai snorted lightly and said with disdain, "Some people are born to be humiliated, not respected. For example, Mo Li." He raised his left hand, and the Jasper saber pointed at Mo Li. Yu Shangrong also raised his sword. "Then let's see who is faster." Faced with 2 of the strongest people in the world, as long as one wasn't a fool, they would know what to do. Mo Li didn't say much. He immediately ran for his life, running like a rocket. The energy was rampant. Mo Li suddenly found that there was no one around him. He didn't dare to fly high, and could only run randomly in the small alleys of the city. The places he ran to were all empty. It was only then that Mo Li remembered that all the commoners had been captured by his vice-generals and tied up at the East City gate to threaten the Nether sect. Mo Li had no other choice but to continue running like crazy. "Why is no one chasing me?" He ran and looked back in confusion. At that moment, in front of him was Yuan Hai, standing and waving. You think you can escape? Mo Li pushed his astral body and hurriedly turned left. A human, shaped hole was left in the wall. Mo Li ran at top speed again. Before he had gone far, he saw Yu Shangrong's figure on the roof, smiling. Why must you struggle in pain? Mo Li was on the verge of going mad with panic. He could not forgive this kind of cat and mouse game. He stomped on the ground, and his body shot up into the sky. Sure enough, Yu Shangrong and Yuan Hai also flew up, one on the left and one on the right. You madmen. You are all madmen. Mo Li felt that these two were not only mad but also mentally ill. It seemed they completely disregarded him. To be more precise, Mo Li was just a tool for them to compete with each other. Just then, a team of men swooped down from the sky. They were all wearing armor. At the same time, the sound of horse hooves came from a distance. Cavalry and cultivators had entered the city. Mo Li was overjoyed and laughed maniacally. Why, reinforcements have arrived. He pushed his astral body, and a 100-foot-tall avatar appeared. This helped the reinforcements determine his position, but at the same time, it also exposed himself. Mo Li glanced to both sides. One saber and one sword condensed into energy, and flew toward him with world-destroying momentum. I'm done for. Mo Li's heart was extremely heavy. He continued to fly up into the air. The dense sword and saber energies pursued him in unison. Bang, bang, bang. They struck Mo Li. One saber and one sword continued to slash a few more times before simultaneously retreating. Yu Shangrong stepped forward and caught the longevity sword. Yuan Hai stepped forward and caught the jasper saber. On top of twin rocks, Huang Shiji, Ming Xiyin, and Chu Yushin saw the whole thing. They all stood rooted to the spot, unable to believe their eyes. 8-leaf Yuan Hai, with his domineering and incomparably fierce saber, the saber of energy as if it wanted to destroy the heavens and the earth. 6-leaf Yu Shangrong, his sword path transcendent, his sword like a roaming dragon, his performance in no way inferior to the 8-leaf Yuan Hai. If they hadn't seen his 6-leaf avatar, no one would have dared to doubt that Yu Shangrong was not a peak 8-leaf. Huang Shiji praised. This is why I said not to compare me with Sect Master Yu. Chu Yushin was truly impressed. Huang Shiji continued, the sword devil can use his 6-leaf cultivation to display a combat strength no less than an 8-leaf's, and at the same time control his avatar to act as he wishes. To achieve such a realm after rebuilding his cultivation, I am afraid he is the only one. The praise was very sincere. Huang Shiji had forgotten to include Liuji. In fact, he didn't know what means Liuji had used to advance to the 9-leaf stage. Chu Yushin nodded. A pity I am the head of the North Dipper Academy, yet I am like a frog in a well. Why do you say that? Huang Shiji asked. The master of the Nether sect, Yuan Hai, can defeat Mo Li. I am not surprised. But the sword devil, Yu Shangrong, still has the confidence of an 8-leaf after rebuilding his cultivation. It is truly astonishing. Huang Shiji smiled and said, it's a pity we are too far away to see clearly. The disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion cannot be judged by common sense. Do you know the 9th disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion? You've heard of her. Huang Shiji nodded. Before I came here, I visited the Evil Sky Pavilion and met that little girl. She has only been cultivating for 6 years, yet she is already at the 5th leaf of the nascent divinity realm. Chu Yushin's eyes widened, and his fingertips trembled. 6 years to enter the 5th leaf of the nascent divinity realm. This cultivation speed was unprecedented. The body tempering realm alone took several years to temper, not to mention the other realms. Almost no one dared to imagine that someone could enter the nascent divinity realm in 6 years. Chu Yushin felt his throat go dry. His perception of the Evil Sky Pavilion had once again been completely changed. Ming Xiyin glanced at him and thought to himself, if I told them about little conscious talent, they would probably be scared to death. Lu Zhao, who had been silent all this time, finally stroked his beard and criticized. Weak disciple. He had to curse first. Clearly, you can quickly resolve Mo Li, yet you waste so much time. Huang Shiji and Chu Yushin were both stunned. Lu Zhu continued to scold. Yuan Hai's Monarch's Descent is a large area attack. When used, it creates a saber of energy like a tidal wave. Using it to deal with a single Mo Li is extremely wasteful. Yu Shangrong's all things return to origin needs time to channel primal Kai and condense it into sword energy. The power is there, but it's not neat and fast enough. At the critical moment, you still want to hide your strength. The two of them working together, yet they can't kill Mo Li in the shortest time. Their methods are too cumbersome, and their attacks are not decisive enough. They are still young, after all. The continuous criticisms left Huang Shiji and Chu Yushin speechless. What else could they say? Damn it, if I hit such a disciple, I would wake up laughing in my sleep, you know. Yet Ji Tiandao is still dissatisfied. Huang Shiji coughed twice to dispel the awkwardness. At this moment, Ming Xian suddenly pointed at Yuzhu City and said, Master, there are reinforcements. Xu Yushan looked over, his brows raised in confusion. Aren't those the disciples of the Heavenly Xing Academy? Shouldn't Wei Chuan have gone to Liangzhou? Liangzhou. Xu Yushan realized he had misspoken and hurriedly covered his mouth. Ming Xian's lips curled. Wei Shuyan gave up defending the border and returned to counterattack Liangzhou. This is also a good move. But to conquer Liangzhou is probably not easy. The Nether sect has 3 great protectors guarding Liangzhou. Unless Wei Shuyan colludes with the foreign tribes. Xu Yushan and Huang Shiji were startled. From ancient times to the present, the crime of colluding with foreign tribes had always been an unforgivable one. Once this hat was confirmed, it would definitely leave a stench for 10,000 years. In Yuzhu City, a large number of soldiers in armor suddenly appeared. There were also cavalry, all heading toward the east city wall. In the sky, a flying chariot appeared. The flying chariot was not large, but one could tell that its owner was of no small origin. Behind the flying chariot were 3 square formations formed by a group of cultivators wearing black armor and masks. The Black Knights. Master, it's the Black Knights of the Divine Capital, Huang Shiji said. After the leader, Ling Lu, left, the Black Knights are not what they used to be. But who is their new leader? Xu Yushan shook his head. To be honest, I don't have this person's name in my intelligence. In Yuzhu City, Yu Shangron and Yu Zhenhai were facing each other. Mo Li lay on the ground, looking at the two in panic and fear. Yu Zhenhai said, Second junior brother, the reinforcements have arrived. It's better if I take Mo Li away. The battle is urgent and cannot be delayed any longer. For now, let's not compete. Is that alright? Yu Shangron, holding the longevity sword, smiled and said, Since first senior brother has said so, how can I not know what's good for me and continue to fight? The battle is urgent. Let's do as you say for now. Good, good. The two had been engaged in a verbal battle just now, yet now they were starting to be modest and humble. Mo Li sighed inwardly. This is not good. If I don't run now, when will I? He immediately stomped his foot, and his whole body erupted with the astral body, shimmering with golden light, and charged toward the nearby wall. Boom. Yu Shangron didn't even look back. The longevity sword had already flown out. The jasper saber was not to be outdone and slashed over. This time, the saber and the sword did not collide, but flew parallel to each other. Saber and sword energies appeared, densely packed and countless. What was miraculous was that the saber of energy, like a tidal wave, carried a world-destroying momentum, while the sword of energy, as fast as a meteor, carried the power to open the heavens and split the earth. Boom. The saber and sword energies resonated and simultaneously pierced through Mo Li's body. Yu Shangron raised a hand. The longevity sword flew back into its sheath. The jasper saber circled up, cut off Mo Li's head, and carried the head, with its eyes wide open, away. Yu Zhenhai stepped through the air and flew up, saying to Yu Shangron, Second junior brother, you are currently only at the 6th leaf stage. When you return to the 8th leaf stage, we will compete again. What do you think? Yu Shangron replied. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yu Zhenhai said no more. He took Mo Li's head and flew away. Yu Shangron also turned and went in another direction, his figure as fast as lightning. At the same time, the defending reinforcements, like a swarm of ants, were charging toward the east gate of Yuzhu City. Where is Mo Li? A deep voice came from the flying chariot. Just then, Yu Zhenhai's figure flew past. The Black Knights and the soldiers all looked up, their expressions grave. Yu Zhenhai, standing on the flying jasper saber, suddenly stopped. A human head fell. Thud. The human head landed on the flying chariot and rolled a few times, leaving several dark red, terrifying bloodstains. The crowd cried out in alarm. Commander, Commander! Yu Zhenhai clasped his hands behind his back, looking at the flying chariot with a serious expression. Then, he looked at the nearby commoners, and said indifferently, This is the fate of those who dare to bully the common people. Aya said that the Nether sect will not touch a single hair on the heads of the old citizens. For what happened today, I will definitely go to the Emperor to seek justice. The powerful voice spread out, making the common people happy and excited. For them, it didn't matter who sat on the throne. What mattered was whether that person could make their lives better. Seeing Yu Zhenhai's demeanor, who wouldn't be moved, the common people immediately rioted, everyone discussing and criticizing the imperial family, criticizing Mo Li. A deep voice suddenly came from the flying chariot. Li harmed the common people. His crime is punishable by death. I will definitely execute his entire clan. But one thing is another. How can I let the nether sect go because of this? It's the Crown Prince. This person is His Highness the Crown Prince of Great Yan, from the Flying Chariot. A person in a brocade robe and a brocade hat walked out with a calm and composed expression. He looked at Yu Chenke, who was standing in the air, a murderous intent hidden in his eyes. He was the Crown Prince, Liuji. Liuji's appearance boosted the morale of the army. I have been ordered to suppress the rebels. Yu Zhengai didn't expect the person who came to be Liuji. Just shoot. Even if Liuji was a cultivation genius, he couldn't possibly be an leaf nascent divinity realm. Besides, Li was already dead, and Wei Shuyan had gone to Lamzhou. On what basis did Liuji claim to be able to resist the nether sect? Liuji stepped through the air and flew up, leveling with Yuan Hai. The Black Knights behind him immediately followed. Liuji replied calmly, of course not. Please look. He waved his right hand. On the horizon in the distance, a group of cultivators in white robes suddenly appeared, flying over. This group of cultivators appeared from behind a misty mountain range and flew toward the east of the city. It was clear that they already knew the situation in Yushu City. When the cultivators in white robes appeared in sight, the confidence of the defending troops soared. On the nether sect's giant chariot, Siwuya also saw the scene and frowned slightly. They still came after all. The head of the Heavenly Sing Academy, Men Minfei, led a group of disciples and flew straight toward Yushu City. Academy head, we are about to reach Yushu City. Go. Everyone there must obey my orders. Yes, disciple obeys. As the several thousand cultivators of the Heavenly Sing Academy flew past a mountain peak, a disciple suddenly pointed at it. Academy head, what is that? Bang Nanfei was initially not paying attention, focusing all his energy on flying. When he turned his head to look, he saw that on that mountain, an avatar was suddenly expanding. The avatar grew from 1 jum to 15 jum. The golden lotus under it had 9 lotus leaves. It flew up into the air, emitting a dazzling light of 10,000 jum. The several thousand disciples' hair stood on end, and their whole bodies jumped as if they had been electrocuted. An extremely terrifying aura was crashing down on them. Seeing this, Meng Nanfei's eyes widened, and he roared. Retreat! The roar of the Heavenly Sing Academy's head entered the ears of the several thousand disciples. The moment they saw the 9-leaf avatar, it was as if a conditioned reflex. They all retreated in unison. What was the purpose of the Heavenly Sing Academy coming here? Of course it was to support the Crown Prince, support Li, and defeat the Nether sect. And who was the owner of the 9-leaf avatar on Twin Rocks? Without even thinking, they knew it was the master of the Evil Sky Pavilion, which was also the master of the Nether sect's master, Ji Tando. In this situation, who would dare to act recklessly? The wisest course of action was to get lost. Get lost quickly. There was no need to say anything. Just run with your head down. They had come in a mighty procession, and they were returning with their tails between their legs. In Yushu City, Liuji stood proudly in mid-air. As long as the 2 great academies arrived and opened the formation, it would be time to catch turtles in a jar. What Nether sect? What Yu Zhenhei? They would all be wiped out. But, Your Highness, the Heavenly Sing Academy has disappeared. A subordinate hurriedly ran over and bowed. The Crown Prince, Liuji, was stunned. He frowned and asked again, disappeared. He didn't believe it and flew higher to observe. The Heavenly Sing Academy, not a moment too soon. Not a moment too late, he just happened to see a group of cultivators in white robes fleeing, even faster than rabbits. In a moment, they had disappeared at the horizon. What is this? This isn't funny at all. Liuji was dumbfounded. What happened? A mutiny. The view in the city was not very good. The buildings blocked a lot of people's view. From Yu Zhenhei's position, he also couldn't see the situation outside the city clearly. His face was also filled with confusion. But on the Nether sect's giant chariot, Siwuya saw the scene very clearly. The 9-leaf avatar only appeared for a moment, for about 10 seconds, and then disappeared. But that was enough. Master. Siwuya didn't believe that there was a second 9-leaf at this time. The person who had just used the avatar on Twin Rocks. If it wasn't his master, who else could it be? Siwuya immediately seized the opportunity and hurriedly said, Shanjian, beat the drums, and attack. Yes. Huo jumped to the highest point on the giant chariot, took the drumstick, and beat the war drum fiercely. Thump, thump, thump. On the city wall, the Nether sect members were energized and all charged down. The large-scale battle officially began. Yu Zhenhai turned to look at the giant chariot parked on the city wall and nodded slightly. Wise brother, you've helped me like this. How can I let myself fall behind? Yuan Hai immediately charged into the battle. The jasper saber in his hand flew and circled. Liuji's eyes widened, and he shouted, "Retreat, retreat. Open the formation. Your Highness. The thing. Open the formation. That's not a good idea," the subordinate stammered in fear. But he still knew one thing. Opening the formation at this time was no different from trapping himself here. Liuji descended onto the flying chariot. The flying chariot turned and flew away. Saber energy struck, and in an instant, dozens of black knights were killed. Their heads fell to the ground like rain. Or rain of blood. Yuan Hai looked at the terrified commoners and hovered in the air, saying, "Those who believe in me will survive. The Nether sect will do its best to protect everyone's safety." Yuan Hai had decided. To win the world, he had to win the hearts of the people. His voice was like a clap of thunder, entering everyone's ears. Seeing that there was still hope of survival, the commoners immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Whoever believes in the sect master will survive. The Nether sect will do its best to protect everyone's safety. Yuan Hai had decided. To win the world, he had to win the hearts of the people. His voice was like a clap of thunder, entering everyone's ears. Seeing that there was still hope of survival, the common people immediately knelt down and kowtowed. At this moment, the second seat of the Azure Dragon Hall, Wuhan, flew past Yuan Hai and called out, "Wuhan." Wuhan hurriedly bowed and replied, "Sect Master, I order you to do your utmost to protect the safety of the common people. If there are any mishaps, I will take your head as compensation. I will obey the sect master's order." Wuhan received his orders. The common people, seeing the Nether sect's master give the order in front of everyone, felt very much at ease. Moli's previous actions had completely lost their trust. Many common people ran towards Wuhan. Wuhan carefully guarded them, and escorted them out of the East City Gate. Yuan Hai was relieved and quickly pursued the Black Knights. On top of Twin Rocks, the appearance of the nine-leaf avatar was beyond everyone's expectations. Chu Yushin's thoughts seemed to have been completely taken away by that avatar. He stood there dumbfounded for a long time. The 1,000+ disciples of the North Dipper Academy were also staring in a daze. That was the nine-leaf avatar, its golden light so dazzling. One person could be mistaken, but a group of people could not be. Academy head Shu Xian, seeing that Chu Yushin had been in a daze for a long time, spoke up to wake him. He didn't know what he was thinking. Seeing that Chu Yushin didn't answer, Ming Xian called out again, "Academy head Chu." Chu Yushin was startled and hurriedly turned around, saying to Chu Wenlian, "Thank you for the reminder, Elder Chu." Chu Wenlian, Wang Jianrang, Zhang Gong, what the hell? Chu Yushin finally came to his senses, his face full of embarrassment. He hurriedly said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't rest well last night. I've made a fool of myself." Chu Wenlian secretly pouted. "Only now you know to thank me." Huang Shiji, who had seen the nine-leaf golden lotus before, was much calmer. Of course, he knew why Brother Ji had done that. It was clearly to intimidate the disciples of the Heavenly Sing Academy and the North Dipper Academy. This move of Brother Ji's is truly unexpected. I am impressed, Huang Shiji praised. Lu Xiru shook his head. "I was indeed just passing by." "What about you, Academy head Shu?" Shi Yushin looked embarrassed and hurriedly replied, Of course, I was also just passing by." Huang Shiji nodded. "Then it's easy. If everyone is just passing by, there's no need to be in a hurry. Let's stay here and have a chat. It would be great if we had some wine." Ming Xian smiled and said, "I'm so sorry. I was in a hurry to leave this morning, and forgot to bring any." At the same time, Yuzhu City was in a state of chaos. Yuan Hai displayed extremely powerful strength, continuously using Monarch's Descent 3 times, wiping out the Black Knights without leaving a single piece of armor. After continuous fighting, Yuan Hai's primal Kaya was greatly depleted. He looked up ahead. Liuji was controlling the flying chariot and fleeing at top speed. Just as his flying chariot was about to leave the city, a pair of golden wings suddenly flew over from behind. "First senior brother, leave the rest to me." Siwuya, wearing the peacock plume wings, turned his head and said, "All right. Wise brother, be careful. Don't worry, first senior brother. After all, I am a disciple of the evil sky pavilion." After speaking, Siwuya shot forward. The two wings flapped vigorously, shooting out countless energy needles, wiping out the low-level cultivators. Seeing Siwuya's pair of wings, Liuji frowned in annoyance. "There's this trick too. Speed up, Your Highness, rest assured. I guarantee you will be able to leave safely." Whoosh! The flying chariot tilted up and shot over the towering city wall, heading south. Siwia's wings were used to their limit, chasing after it like an arrow. Energy needles continuously shot at the flying chariot. Swish, the lower half of the flying chariot was cut off by the energy needles. The formation scripts on the chariot's body immediately disintegrated. Your Highness, abandon the chariot. A black shadow grabbed Liuji and descended from the sky. The black shadow was wearing a mask and blocked in front of Liuji. The masked man looked up at Siwia and said in a deep voice, Your Highness, fall back, stop him at all costs. Liuji ordered in a deep voice. Yes, the masked man erupted with a strange aura and shot up from the ground, his two hands sending out powerful palm seals. Siwia frowned. He hadn't expected there to be such an expert by Liuji's side. He flapped his wings and shot down. Huff! The masked man hadn't expected Siwia to ignore him and charged straight for Liuji. Siwia's speed was too fast, no slower than the flying chariots. Besides, Liuji no longer had a flying chariot. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Energy needles filled the sky. The masked man used a grand divine ability to get close to Siwia. Is that all you've got? He continuously punched the peacock plume wings. Siwia still ignored him, and continued to use the force to shoot down. Thanks, the wings on Siwia's back suddenly detached. They went from 2 to 1, and the light dissipated. The peacock plume turned into a stream of light, carrying energy needles and shooting at Liuji. Liuji's face turned pale with fright. He erupted with energy to block. Boom, the peacock plume easily broke through the protective energy on Liuji's body and slammed into his chest. But Liuji was severely injured and sent flying backward, breaking several trees in a row. Siwia had no intention of stopping and continued to fly forward at top speed. The masked man cursed. Damn it. Even though he didn't think much of Siwia's strength and cultivation, this unconventional fighting style made him extremely angry. He used a grand divine ability and shot to Siwia's side, striking out with a palm. Siwia raised a hand to block, retreated in the air, stabilized himself, and landed on the ground. The situation in Yuja City is already settled. Why must you struggle in vain? Siwia said. It's all for our respective masters. His Highness the Crown Prince has already abandoned Yuju. Why do you insist on pursuing him? I am here to kill the enemy. I am here to save my master, Siwia said with disdain. Crown Prince Liuji was obsessed with foreign culture since he was young. He once held a foreign dance party in the East Palace. To satisfy his personal interests, he did not hesitate to let the wolf into the house. Is such a master worthy of your protection? The way of ruler and subject is the law of nature. You rebels only know how to speak nonsense, the masked man said in a deep voice. A foolishly loyal person is both sad and pitiful. You're courting death. The masked man struck out with a fist of energy, his figure like lightning. Bang, bang, bang. Siwia struck out with both palms. The two engaged in a fierce battle. The masked man displayed astonishing combat strength. Every move pressed Siwia. The fist of energy grazed his protective energy, and for a moment, Siwia was unable to retaliate and had to retreat continuously. Boom! 2 fists of energy slammed into Siwia's hands. He retreated again. The masked man laughed heartily. It seems not everyone in the Evil Sky Pavilion is strong. If the person opposite me were Yuan Hai, I would have fled without hesitation. You're happy too soon. Siwia flipped his hand. The peacock plume spun and shot out energy needles. Although the number was small, the power was immense. The masked man continuously waved his hand to swat away the energy. When the last energy needle was about to reach his face, it suddenly turned into many small energy needles and, with an extremely strange speed, shattered the mask on his face. With a crisp crack, his mask shattered and fell to the ground. Luhong, it's you. Siwia recognized this person. It is I, Siwia. The Evil Sky Pavilion destroyed my Hank sect and killed my disciples. As the sect master, how can I sit by and do nothing? Siwia shook his head. The Henku sect has provoked the Evil Sky Pavilion multiple times. If my master finds out that you are still so stubborn, I'm afraid. Siwia didn't finish his sentence. Lu Hong laughed loudly again. That's why I have to kill you now. No one will know. The fist of energy erupted. Lu Hong's entire body shot forward. Siwia retreated, his 2 hands raised to block the fist of energy. Bang, bang, bang. The 2 went one forward and one back. Siwia retreated again in the air, dodging a strike. Lu Hong smiled faintly. Is that all you've got? Siwia ignored his taunt, and looked at Liuji, who was lying on the ground. Liuji will die. With a light tap of his toes, Siwuya flew into the air and threw out the peacock plume. The peacock plume turned into a pair of peacock wings, but did not attach to Siwuya's back but spun in the air. Energy needles, like a storm of pure blossoms, shot out from the Great Compassion Mantra. There was a rumor in the cultivation world that a person who cultivated the Great Compassion Mantra could make the heavens and the earth bleed, and demons and ghosts cry. The Great Compassion Mantra, combined with the peacock plume, could allow this cultivation method to be used to its fullest potential. Siwuya rarely fought. The move Kongxi Kaiping had almost no chance of being used. This time, in order to kill Liuji, Siwuya had to go all out. Lu Hong's eyes whitened. He summoned his avatar to meet the attack. Damn it. A 7-leaf avatar appeared, 9 Zhan long, and blocked horizontally in front of Liuji. The rain of energy needles pierced the avatar. However, it still couldn't block all the energy needles. Several energy needles had pierced Liuji's body. Withdraw. Siwuya withdrew the peacock plume. The Great Compassion Mantra also stopped. At the same time, Siwuya's entire body flew back without any hesitation. He wants to escape. Lu Hong didn't expect him to want to run after just using the Great Compassion Mantra. He immediately charged forward to pursue him. Siwuya had achieved his goal, so of course he had to run. Being fond of fighting had never been his style. However, a 7-leaf avatar was not so easily trifled with. Just as Lu Hong was about to catch Siwuya, a voice suddenly came from Yuja City. "Wise brother, where are you?" Yu Zhengai, seeing that Siwuya had been gone for a long time and still hadn't returned, couldn't help but worry and rushed over. This call made Lu Hong, who had been aggressive like a lion, suddenly become dejected like a dog. He decisively withdrew his avatar, and turned to fly toward Liuji. "Wise brother," another call made Lu Hong's hair stand on end. He sped up even more. This person was really not to be trifled with. Siwuya shook his head and dropped his hands. He ran just like that. Yuan Hai flickered and flew over. Seeing Siwuya hovering in the air, he was immediately overjoyed and called out, "Wise brother, are you alright? That person is Lu Hong of the Henk sect. Don't let him escape." Siwuya pointed at Lu Hong, who was charging into the forest. Yuan Hai saw that Siwuya's hair was messy and frowned. "Wise brother, leave it to me." Whoosh, another grand divine ability. Lu Hong didn't dare to stop. Carrying Liuji, he just ran with all his might. He abandoned Liuji and ran through the dense forest, running from one corner to another. I don't know if you've ever been chased by someone. A person in a state of panic will often run randomly by instinct, sometimes turning left, sometimes turning right, just wanting to shake off the pursuer. Lu Hong was like that right now. He didn't dare to fly out of the forest and just ran randomly. He himself didn't know where he was. He couldn't distinguish the direction. He just needed to escape from Yuan Hai. Perhaps this trick had worked. Lu Hong didn't feel anyone chasing him anymore. He let out a sigh of relief. But this state didn't last long before a wild laugh echoed through the forest. In the sky, the jasper saber turned into a meat grinder and shut out countless dark heaven's starlight, wiping out a large patch of forest. Lu Hong's heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly flew out of the forest. Ah, a mountain. And disciples of the North Dipper Academy. Why are they all standing here? Lu Hong of the Henk sect. Someone recognized him and shouted. Lu Hong was overjoyed. He shouted frantically, "Quick, save me. Kill the disciples of old Demon Ji." He shouldn't have said that. As soon as he did, the expressions of the 1,000+ disciples of the North Dipper Academy changed. At the same time, a palm seal suddenly flew over from behind them. Great formless seal. The palm seal slammed into Lu Hong. Lu Hong had demonstrated to everyone what would happen if you met a seal with your face. Boom. He was turned to dust. On top of twin rocks, it became quiet again. Shiyushin felt his mouth go dry. All three of his legs seemed to be giving out, and he couldn't help but tremble. He really wanted to stand firm, but he was powerless. Lu Hong, the sect master of the Henk sect, was a 7-leaf expert, yet he was turned to dust by one palm. Shiyushin suddenly remembered the time when he had just arrived at Twin Rocks. Zhu Wenliang had gone out to greet him, and then he had met Meng Xiyin. After that, he had gone up the mountain to meet Ji Tiandao. If any step in this process had gone wrong, he was afraid his fate would be no different from Sick Master Lu Hong's. He really didn't dare to think about it anymore. Just the thought of it made him shiver. Lu Zhu didn't care much about Lu Hong's life or death. Before his seclusion, he had warned the Henk sect. If they insisted on opposing the evil Sky Pavilion, then they would have to accept their destruction. To ensure that this one palm was powerful enough to kill the target, Lu Zhu did not spare any of his extraordinary power and used a full 1/3 of it. According to his calculations, After comprehending the Earth Scroll, he only needed to use 1/5 of his extraordinary power to kill a 7-leaf expert. But to be sure, Liuji used 1/3. It was very effective and intimidating. One palm had turned Lu Hong to dust. Even Huang Shiji was shaken by this scene for a long time. After a moment of silence, Liuji opened his mouth. "Don't be nervous." "Not nervous, not nervous." Chu Yushin repeatedly waved his hand. He appeared calm on the surface, but in his heart, he was terrified. The crowd looked at the huge saber of energy above the dense forest. Huang Shiji smiled and said, "Sect Master Yu is indeed as mighty as ever. One move, the great dark heavenly palm, shoots out dark heaven starlight in such a large area. The purpose is only one, to find Lu Hong." This scene was very similar to when Liuji was at Jingming Dao Mountain, and wanted to capture Yuan Hai. It was just that Yuan Hai seemed much more violent. When the entire forest was cut down, Yuan Hai's sharp eyes shifted to the nearby twin rocks. At the same time, he saw the 1,000+ cultivators in white robes gathered there. It was at that moment that he saw a huge palm seal smash Lu Hong, as if it were smashing a fly. Even with his leaf cultivation, Yuan Hai was shocked when he saw that blue palm seal. Is it an enemy or a friend? The person who sent out that palm on top of twin rocks. Who is it? Why is the palm seal blue? A bunch of questions arose, making Yuan Hai not dare to act rashly. Seeing the 1,000+ disciples of the North Dipper Academy, Yuan Hai secretly guessed. Could it be Chu Yushin? But on second thought, with Chu Yushin's cultivation, it was impossible for him to use such a devastating palm. Just as Yuan Hai was about to get closer to observe carefully, "First senior brother, what's wrong?" Yuan Hai looked at Siwei, who was running over. "The overall situation is the most important. Let's conquer Yuzu first. There's movement on twin rocks. I'm afraid there's an enemy ambush. I want to find out the truth," Yuan Hai said. The mountain was called Twin Rocks because there were two large rocks blocking the view. Coupled with the high peak and the distance, it was very difficult to see the situation on it. However, how could the 15-time Avatar have escaped Siwei's notice? Siwei smiled and said, "Don't worry, first senior brother. If they wanted to attack us, they would have come long ago. Why would they wait until after Crown Prince Liuji was dead? And they didn't come after he died." Yuan Hai pointed at Twin Rocks. "Wise brother, you didn't see it just now. I saw a huge blue palm seal. It looked like this." Yuan Hai was about to gesture to show the huge size of the palm seal, but he suddenly felt that doing so would ruin his image as a sect master. So, he coughed and said, "In short, it killed Lu Hong with one palm. Isn't that great? With Lu Hong dead, the Hank sect is like a snake without a head, falling into disarray. In the future, when first senior brother unifies the world, there will be one less obstacle." Siwei smiled and replied. Yuan Hai nodded. "In that case, the person on Twin Rocks is not an enemy. No, those people are clearly disciples of the academy." Siwei knew Yuan Hai's personality very well. If he knew that his master was helping him, he would be very unhappy. So, he hurriedly said, "This is not important. Right now, the battle in Yuzhu City is very urgent. First senior brother, please return quickly." Yuan Hai sighed helplessly. All right. For him, the great cause was more important. Siwei was using this point to distract him. Of course, Siwei also knew that he wasn't the only one who had seen the 9-leaf avatar. But with the current situation, there was no need to take the initiative with his first senior brother, and cause him more trouble. On Twin Rocks, Liuji and the others observed the battle in Yuzhu City. The Nether sect had completely gained the upper hand. Liuji was in no hurry to leave. He was thinking about what Ming Xian had just said. What if that 9-leaf expert is still in the Imperial Palace? "Brother Ji, the overall situation is settled. I thought I would have to make a trip to Yuzhu." "It seems there's no need," Huang Shiji said. Liuji glanced at him. Yes, we were just passing by." Huang Shiji immediately corrected himself. At the same time, he felt that what he was doing was superfluous. With a 9-leaf here, he would only be here to applaud. Not necessarily unnecessary for you. "Brother Ji, please give your orders. Penglai Island will give its full support, at any cost," Huang Shiji replied. "Tell that disciple of yours to work harder. I told him to investigate the woman with the surname Lu, but there's still no accurate news." Liuji scolded. Huang Shiji smiled awkwardly. "Hey, that wicked disciple of mine is lazy to the bone and extremely arrogant. But when it comes to investigating information, he is indeed very capable. After I go back, I will urge him to work properly. Liuji nodded in satisfaction. Seeing that the battle in Yushi City was completely won, he lost interest in continuing to watch. He casually asked, how is the situation on Xuancong Island? Since Brother Ji lifted the island with his hands, the formation has been repaired. The 5 islands of Penglai have all stabilized. Brother Ji saved the day with one person's strength. As the master of Penglai Island, I naturally understand that I must repay my debts. Huang Shiji replied. Yu Yushin said in shock, Senior Ji, is it true that you lifted the island with your hands? Main Shiyin rolled his eyes. This guy was really stupid. With a brain like that, how could he become the head of the North Dipper Academy? If he had known this, he would have taken all the leaf-opening pills when he went there to find them. Huang Shiji said unhappily, Academy head Chu, if it weren't for Brother Ji's presence, just based on that sentence of yours, we would be mortal enemies. To Yushin. Brother Ji has done a great favor for Penglai Island. It's one thing for others to question it, but you, the dignified head of the North Dipper Academy, don't even have the ability to distinguish right from wrong. Lifting an island with one's hands may sound unbelievable, but if you just think about it carefully or send someone to investigate, you will know the truth. Why do you need to question it behind someone's back? It's clear that you want to sow discord between Penglai Island and the evil Sky Pavilion. How can Huang Shiji forgive such a person? Yushin hurriedly apologized. I am so sorry. I have been focusing on refining pills and studying the Golden Lotus recently. I've been very busy. I didn't expect the matter of lifting Xuancong Island with one's bare hands to be true. After speaking, Yushin cupped his hands to Liu Shu again. I didn't expect Senior Ji's cultivation to have reached such a state. I am impressed. Lu Yu was already used to this kind of flattery and didn't pay much attention. He changed the subject. What achievements have you made in your research on pill refining and the Golden Lotus? This question put Yushin in an awkward position. Since the era of severing the Golden Lotus began, all research projects were considered confidential. Only the core disciples of the Academy and the imperial family knew about them. It was usually not revealed to anyone. Seeing him stammer, Liu just sighed. In those days, the North Dipper Academy had the world in its heart. How glorious it was. At that time, there was no student in the world who did not look up to the North Dipper Academy. Now, after only a few hundred years, it has become like this. Self-isolating, acting alone, working blindly. No wonder it has fallen to this state. These words made Qiu Yushin's face turn red with shame. Huang Shiji said, Academy head Qiu, in front of Brother Ji. What is there that you can't say? Brother Ji is already a 9 leave. Does he covet your crude experience? If you can get a pointer from Brother Ji, it's far better than you painstakingly researching for 10 years. These words were very reasonable. How many young people and juniors had to yield to experienced elders? It was like reading books. There were thousands of classics in the world. If one could really understand everything just by reading, what was the need for a teacher? Besides, Yu Shangrong of the Evil Sky Pavilion had already cultivated to the 6-leaf stage after severing his Golden Lotus. Did he still need your experience? Xu Yushin had an epiphany. Island Master Huang is right. It is I who was narrow-minded. The principle of the Academy is to teach the world. This is also the reason why the Academy has been able to exist until today. At this point, he sighed. For the past half-year, I have been studying the matter of severing the Golden Lotus every day, but the achievements have been very modest. Tell me, Liu tried to be gentle and calm, as if they were just drinking tea and chatting. Xu Yushin said, rebuilding one's cultivation after severing the Golden Lotus is more complicated than we imagined. Severing the Golden Lotus not only affects the speed of cultivation, but also the avatar. Everyone knows that the avatar cannot move and is in a fixed posture like a statue. We can enter the avatar for defense. But after severing the Golden Lotus, based on a strong willpower, the user can control the avatar to make some strange movements to release more powerful moves. The number of lotus leaves opened before severing the Golden Lotus will affect the speed of rebuilding. The more lotus leaves, the faster the cultivation speed, to an unimaginable degree. I and the head of the Heavenly Sing Academy, Meng Nanfei, have discussed this matter. We both agree that severing the Golden Lotus is like a kind of recovery. Huang Shiji said in surprise, severing the Golden Lotus has so many advantages. Not necessarily, Xi Yushin continued. The secret of the Golden Lotus still needs further research. Why the Golden Lotus absorbs life force is still an unsolved mystery. Severing the Golden Lotus ultimately weakens the avatar's original power. The defensive power is astonishing. The Golden Lotus can even block the damage of heaven-grade weapons. Without the Golden Lotus, the power is still weakened by 30%. Moreover, No one has yet proven whether a new golden lotus can be condensed after severing the golden lotus. Does the 9 leaf have any other restrictions? Is there a 10 leaf after the 9 leaf? After saying this, the two looked at Liuji at the same time. Because Liuji was a 9 leaf with a golden lotus, only Liuji would know what happened after advancing to the 9 leaf stage. Liuji said indifferently, the 9 leaf is still unstable. The matter of the 10 leaf is still far away. The two nodded. The era of severing the golden lotus had begun. This time could not be avoided. No one knew how the future would change. Liuji said again, the North Dipper Academy has always been close to the imperial family. Do you know if there is a 9 leaf expert in the palace? Zhu Yushan shook his head. I have never heard of this. One mountain cannot contain 2 tigers. If there really is a 9 leaf, how can His Majesty rest assured? It's just that when the late emperor was in power, there were some rumors. He paused for a moment to think and then continued, the late emperor and senior Jiu once had a good relationship. The late emperor's cultivation talent was far inferior to others, but later, the late emperor was guided by a famous master, and his cultivation suddenly soared. After that, he successfully ascended the throne. Lu Tu's heart skipped a beat. Do you know where this famous master is? Zhu Yushan sighed. This imperial master has already passed away. At that time, the late emperor was in grief for 3 days and 3 nights. He held a grand funeral for the imperial master like a member of the royal family. He even personally guarded the tomb for him for 3 years. Did you see it with your own eyes? The years are too far away. How could I have seen it with my own eyes? It's all just rumors, Zhu Yushan replied. Then where is that tomb?